I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit the start button so we can have some music for the people coming into the stream. But before I actually start playing and introduce you, I do got to do some making sure that the stream is actually going out. Oh nope, wrong title on the stream. There's something to do. It's always something. Okay, so
I'm gonna test my chat too.
Total Nuclear Annihilation. It's like, luckily you wrote this on the back glass. So.
You know, I really didn't know how to spell annihilation at the beginning, and I got really good at it towards the end of the project.
Oh, I'm sure. So I'm going to title this Total Nuclear Annihilation with its creator. Is creator the best word you would say, Scott Danesi?
Yeah, it's great, yep.
Because, like, I've said designer in the past, and I was like, maybe that's not good enough. Like,
I don't even mind any of this.
Okay.
Hey everybody, people are coming in. All right.
Yeah, people are coming in. So yeah, this is one of those fun things where these streams are a little bit more chaotic than my normal stuff. So thanks y'all for your patience, because unlike the normal streams where we'd have the setting up music and stuff, we're just going live and having fun. I'm going to introduce our guest shortly. Setting a category to pinball here. Boom. Alrighty. So I can now see one chat. Gotta get the YouTube chat open. So it's weird because YouTube gives you a different URL for the chat every time, so I can't just bookmark it.
Oh, weird.
I have to like go into the stream and pull that up each time. So, okay, here we go. Got the YouTube chat here. And then let's see, what else do we need? We need to see if tips roll in, so I've got the tip alerts set up here, and then finally I think I need to go ahead and tell people that we are live via Twitter. So twitter.com live now for Total Nuclear Annihilation with its creator Scott Danesi. So let's tag you in that.
You know, this is a missed opportunity for me to grab one of my funny mugs.
I mean, if you want to grab a mug while I do these, like, I don't know how far away they are.
You know, I already got this one all warmed up.
Alrighty.
I'll take a break later and grab one.
Awesome. Okay. So
hi, everybody. Hi. I'm totally going to grab a mug later.
Yeah, totally.
I'll find something good.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too, is, like, you know, just because this is a 2-hour show doesn't mean it's a 2-hour show with no breaks. You finish your drink, you let me know.
I'll just get up and, like, you know, walk around and stuff.
Oh, are you on a wireless headphones?
No, I'll throw the headphones down.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I'm just being funny.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Yeah, so howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. Today I am joined via remote call-in by Scott Danesi from Chicago, Illinois. Howdy, Scott.
Hi, everybody. And hi, Joe.
Yeah, so hopefully, before we get too into the game, can y'all hear Scott and me at about the same levels? Let's get a little bit of a sound check here, and then we'll do... You know, we'll go into who Scott is and why he's here and all that. So
yeah, why am I here? What is this? What game is this?
I constantly wonder why you're here. No, I'm kidding.
Who is this random guy?
Okay, people are saying we sound great, and hopefully you can hear, I've got direct HDMI capture of both the scoreboard and the audio from that. So you should be able to hear the music, which is actually designed by Scott as well. So Scott is the creator of Total Nuclear Annihilation, the game I have before me. Scott, do you mind telling people, like, at what point did you decide, like, I'm just going to make a pinball machine?
Well, okay, so the high-level version of this thing, of this story, is what I mean, is I actually just wanted... Like, all these pinball machines, like, were starting to come out. It was about, like, the year 2015-ish. These new pinball machines are coming out. Stern's making all these other games, and I wanted something that was very particular. I wanted something with loud music, with no ramps, like an old-school throwback game with, like, the latest and greatest technology that pinball machines could offer. So I decided, since it didn't exist, to just make it myself. And that is what I came up with. This monstrosity.
So yeah, as y'all can see, like now that I've plunged the ball, there are no ramps you got the orbits that I just barely missed there. And you've got this great locking mechanism. Everything is on the same plane in this game, with the exception of the shooter ramp, which, you know, has that lip on it.
I guess it's technically a ramp, though. So
yeah, a little bit.
You know?
Oh no, I broke Total Nuclear Annihilation by discovering a ramp. But
you discovered the secret ramp.
Because some people, they use a diverter for that or things like that, right?
Sometimes that skip ramp is pretty common. That's a Williams looking, or a Williams-ish part.
And that's called a skip ramp.
It's a skip ramp, yeah. It just gets the ball high enough to get over that guide rail so that it can get into play, but balls can't go back through it.
That makes sense. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. The cabinet for this is shorter because I'm guessing you didn't need room for all those ramps and stuff. You could save a few inches.
Yeah, what's really interesting about the cabinet on this one, and you can't really see it on the stream here, is the back box. The top of the back box is actually about 3 inches shorter than a standard, current pinball machine that's out there now. The reason for that is that I took the angle of the glass down. So, so picture the side of a pinball cabinet. It has the glass up on it at an angle. Well, I left the front where people touch it alone, and I just tilted the glass down this way. So that, in turn, brought the back box down as well. Just because, really, I didn't need the height for any ramps. I wanted the glass to be nice and close to the playfield.
And I gotta say, that actually worked out perfectly for my purposes, trying to build a pinball machine in Minecraft. Because Minecraft has, like, a certain build limit where you can't go above a certain height. And I wanted to have the pinball machine I was building rise up out of the sea. And, like, the ocean is at a certain level, right? And there's a bunch of other reasons, but, like, basically, this ended up working out really well. But sometimes when I was trying to measure this machine to get the dimensions for my replica, I was looking at the angle of the glass, and I'm like, this is only like 8.5 degrees. And like everything I had read about like the typical glass on a pinball machine was like 12.5 degrees. And I was like, am I doing something wrong here? But like, I checked my work, and which I guess is your work, really. And it seems like, you shape. That's where that extra height came from that you were saving me. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, it's a bit different. That cabinet was a spooky cabinet that I modified. So it was the first time that cabinet had been used.
So when Spooky approached you about making this game, can we kind of let's kind of talk about like the gap? I guess in the narrative here is like you knew you wanted to make a game that played a certain way. It had no ramps. It had the latest and greatest like audio and lighting tech, and you designed all these lighting effects and everything. But how did you go from like I have this idea to I'm actually selling a game? Because there was a prototyping phase where you built this in your garage, as I understand it, right?
Yeah. There's something called a whitewood, which is when you build a pinball machine, you build a whitewood first, which means you build the pinball machine with no art whatsoever on it. So it's just it looks like a piece of wood with pinball parts screwed to it. And what I was doing was I was bringing that around to shows to kind of show people and share it with people. One of the most fun things about pinball for me is just sharing and having a good time with other people. It really is just a thing to get people together and have a good time, really.
It's so social.
It is social. That's the word I'm looking for. But so I brought it around to a bunch of shows, and I actually had no intention of making this a production game. I didn't really want to. It was just a project for me to learn some things and to make a proof of concept for myself and share it with my friends. So I did that, and then at the same time, though, I was also friends, and still am, with Charlie Emery, Golden Spooky Pinball. And he was like joking around like, hey, we should just like make this thing. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but okay, whatever. One day he like came up to me seriously. He goes, hey, do you really like, we could just try and see what happens. Because it's getting really good reviews from people in the, in the industry and it shows. So we started going down that path, and we tucked it in right before Alice Cooper. and you know, it was great. It worked out really well. We actually sold 550 of them right off the bat.
That's
the first run there.
Yeah, that's like crazy for like a brand new, like relatively unthemed music pin. Like, I mean, because you've been making music, but you weren't necessarily somebody who's like filling stadiums, if I, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, whereas Alice Cooper is like a household name.
Yeah, I still couldn't fill a stadium if I tried.
Well, you know, you'll get there, Scott. I mean, you know, you do shows at pinball expos and stuff like that.
I do. Actually, just did one at MGC. I don't know if you saw some clips from that or not, but it was actually really cool.
How did that go? Tell me about it.
It was really cool. So MGC had like a pretty big stage setup with a really like a pretty real deal light show, our lighting system and everything, and a great sound system. We had, I don't know, maybe like 50 people there, and maybe even more back further. But yeah, it was cool. I played a lot of the TNA soundtrack from this game and some other stuff that I had been working on, and some other things from some artists that I really liked. But it was all in the same genre of the TNA sound, and it had people excited.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've heard you describe this as like approachable electronic music. Maybe that's not the right word, but
no, that actually is. So something I was toying with was going through and seeing what the general population like in terms of electronic music. Like, I know maybe some of you do listen to electronic music, but you'll know that like something like dubstep, which has like really high-pitched screeching noises, is a kind of an acquired taste. Not everybody likes that. It is actually offensive to some people. But I found if I slowed down the beats per minute on the actual music itself and just made it so it didn't have any high-pitched crazy stuff going on, people really digged it. They're really digging it because it was like it's like danceable to the average person. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. It's not offensive electronic music.
Inoffensive, yeah.
Yeah, it's not offensive. Yeah, like breakcore. I wouldn't put breakcore in a pinball machine. Well, maybe I would. I don't know. Maybe I should.
I mean,
I like breakcore. I love breakcore.
If it's your pinball machine, you can do what you want. You know, it's when you try to sell it to 550 people that you got to start worrying. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I guess you could always have like the. You know, because with pinball machines these days, storage isn't an issue anymore. It used to be you could only have so many sound effects or whatever in the game. Yeah. But at this point, if you wanted to have the Scott's Mix audio track or whatever, where it's like, okay, you can play with the approachable electronic or the inoffensive electronic music, or you can play with, you know, Scott's breakcore mix.
Yeah, it just go insane with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, breakcore is very intense. So, oh man. Yeah, approachable soundtrack is something I really wanted to do in that. Also, I really liked this genre that I happened to stumble upon, which I have no idea what it is. It's not synthwave. It's like a harder synthwave style. It doesn't have like big long like pads and breakdowns and chill out things. It's really just slow techno.
Well, and you know what? Sometimes technology moves too fast for people. Why can't we accept that the same might be true of technology music?
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. So, yeah, what you said earlier, too, is that, you know, before, back in the 90s and 80s, and, you know, actually, yeah, it came to about the year 2000 or so, we became pretty unlimited with how much storage we could have for audio. But I'm basically unlimited in the amount of audio that I can put in here. It just has to be able to decode it fast enough, which is really no big deal. The computers are also very fast now. I was able to just do pretty much anything.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, it's very interesting. That's also a blessing and a curse, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know if you've seen that new Playdate video game system that Panic put out, where it's like black and white and really basic, and you know, D-pad, 2 buttons, and a crank, you know? Yeah. And so if you're trying to design a game for that, you don't have to say, what do I do with 12 buttons? You say, how can I make a game with 4 and a crank?
Yes. Putting artificial limits on things also really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just in anything, really. Even in life. That's just, like, good life advice. Like when you have, you know, your pocket, right? Your phone has all of mankind's knowledge in it and all of mankind's music in it. So you can basically like say, hey, I want to listen to some music, and you pull your phone out and you're like, all right, what do we want to listen to? And you're like, I don't know, you know, like I guess I'll just play something that I, you know, maybe like a everything that I liked in the past, okay? And you just it's like random at that point. But if you walk up to a jukebox that has like, you know, 20 songs in it, and you're like, all right, what do I want to listen to? You look through the jukebox, you're like, oh, hey, wait a second. You're like, Steve Winwood, hell yeah, I'm listening to that guy. Yeah. You know? So, it's quite interesting, and you're very happy then with the choice that you made, which is it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and so, you know, when you were designing this in your garage, you were really constrained in a lot of ways, because you were trying to deal with off-the-shelf parts, and now I know that you ended up using a spooky cabinet for this finally, but were you using somebody else's cabinet, or did you build a cabinet from scratch for the prototype, or how did you do that?
No, the first game actually was built inside of an old Bally cabinet. So I had a Dolly Parton that I parted out, and it, I took the cabinet from it and slammed the TNA game into it.
Wow, I didn't know that there was a Tennessee connection with Total Nuclear Annihilation there.
There is. There totally is.
Okay, you know, if you ever go to Dollywood, I've got a season pass.
I want to go there.
So I would totally come hang out with you that weekend.
Nice.
Weekdays are a little bit harder because my kid's in school, but weekends, yeah, I can get up to Dollywood.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I just saw a documentary on that, actually.
It is... It's a way better park than I expected it to be. I was just like, the first time I went, I was like, you know what? This is a weekend for my kid. She's had, you know, she's had a rough time lately with a bunch of family stuff. You know, I just want to take her somewhere fun. And I got out there, and I was like, I'm having fun. I thought that this was going to be just one more thing I did to, like, you know, I'm spending money on my kid, but she needs it, so we're doing it. And I get out there, I'm like, no, we're both having a blast. It's a great park. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like amusement parks too. They're just fun.
So, okay, so you started with a Dolly Parton cabinet, and like for stuff like the flippers and things like that, were you buying new parts, or were you using other stuff that you had like just taken out of other machines, or?
Well, yeah, I used all new parts for when I built the actual first game there, because I worked at that point. I did work at Pinball Life.
Okay.
I was getting employee discounts on parts, so I was like, I'll just use all these parts, you know. And what's funny too is the limitation you were saying about using off-the-shelf components was actually a choice. It was a design choice. I wanted to show the homebrew community that I could build something interesting with mostly off-the-shelf components.
Fantastic. Real quick, I'm linking to scottdanesi.com because Janie Laney asked, does Scott have a website or anything we can see more of his work? Yes. And also on Twitch, your twitch.tv/Scott Danesi.
Scott Danesi. Yep.
Yeah, Scott.
And I do stuff randomly on Twitch, just whenever I feel like powering up something, or if I'm working. If I'm working on something that's not confidential and I feel like it's sort of interesting, I might just turn Twitch on and then continue working and let people watch me work and ask me questions and stuff. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed the stuff you've done with your audio setup. It's called a Moog, I believe, but I don't know what that stands for.
Oh no, it's the it's actually Moog is a brand. Or
sorry,
it's Moog, but it's a brand of a synthesizer.
That's how little I know. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's all good. So I have it's called the Eurorack System is basically what it is, and it's a modular synthesizer which has, you know, drum machines and samplers and synthesizers and all sorts of crazy stuff. But I do play with that a lot on stream. People do like that. You can actually kind of see it in the corner of my thing right here. It's sitting on the floor right now because I've got some stuff ripped out of it. I am traveling to Montreal on the 20th of this month to do a live show, and I'm bringing some of that Eurorack stuff with me, and I'm going to do a live synthesizer performance.
What event is that at? Could people, like, I don't know how much of our audience is in Canada, but if you are, what is that and when is it?
It's at North Star Pinball. So there's a bar, so there's a bar, North Star Bar, and then there's also an arcade. I believe that one of them, let me see. It's on. There's a thing on Facebook. I think the public one is on Friday. It's one of those two. Either the 20th or the 21st. I'm doing 2 performances, one public and one private. Yeah, NorthstarPinball.com is the people doing it.
I'm gonna make sure that you're a VIP on here. So if you
sure,
have anything...
I can post all sorts of stuff.
Okay, you're already a VIP. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, let me see if I can...
Yeah, at least one person says that they're nearby in Canada, so...
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Let me grab the link and toss it out there.
Yeah, and if you post it in Twitch, I can copy and paste it into the YouTube chat. I don't know if you have that one open, too.
Excellent. Perfect. I don't have the YouTube one open.
No worries.
But... Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Release party. So the public one, here it is. It is on the 21st, which is a Saturday, which is perfect. Boom. Oh, geez. That was a terrible link.
Terrible link.
Terrible link.
Oh, boy.
Can you delete that one? Let me try again.
Yeah, I think I can.
Let me try again. Let me delete all of the junk.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of stuff in that tag that I don't think is really necessary.
Totally not necessary. Here, watch this. Watch this. How about that? There we go. I fixed it.
This might be the only time people ever see me copy and paste a Facebook link. I really don't like Facebook, but I really like you, Scott, so I'm going to make an exception.
I know. I also don't like Facebook. They are putting it on there with all the information, though, so I was like, okay, fine. That's the play. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm in chat now, too. I see Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Kyle has seen me perform on the Eurorack synthesizer stuff, and he's seen me perform a DJ show as well.
Oh, fantastic!
That's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like all of my streams, we're gonna bounce around a lot. But to kind of bring us back to you making the game, so you're working at Pinball Life, and you work on like their e-commerce, like engineering side of things, right? Is that? Yeah,
I'm basically the technical guy there. I do most of my job is engineering the parts, so I do mechanical and electrical engineering, and then I also screw with the back end of the website.
Oh, I didn't realize that you were actually working on parts, like in addition. I thought you were more like just the web or like the server guy.
I'm the actual parts engineer guy.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Like, so, are you testing the parts that are coming in from suppliers, or are you designing things from scratch? What does that look like?
We do a lot of designing from scratch. We also do a lot of testing stuff that's coming. So yes, all of that. So what's really interesting is the biggest impact that I think, like me personally, like I have had in pinball is probably all the replacement parts. The parts that break on pinball machines. I have re-engineered that at Pinball Life to make those parts, stronger and more available so that people can buy them and just have access to them. So
that's cool.
It's actually quite a big effort. But it's really interesting, and it's very satisfying actually.
So, are you like mostly working in CAD and sending things off to like manufacturers and then checking to see if they're up to spec, or what's the workflow?
So the thing, like if I design a new part, I will design it in SolidWorks. So I design it in 3D. I then make something called a mechanical drawing out of it. Then once the mechanical drawing is done and checked and verified, I sometimes 3D print things to just double check things to make sure that I didn't mess anything up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I will send that off to a manufacturer. They will send us back some first article samples. I'll check the samples, make sure everything's good, and if they are good, we say, hey, go for production and make like 1,000 of these.
Nice.
And a few months later, 1,000 of them show up at our door.
So you guys actually have exclusive parts then? You're not just selling, here's something that we got from Bali, 20 years ago and has been sitting in a warehouse.
Yeah, so we make a lot of new parts for things that don't exist anymore. Nothing it's nothing copyrighted or patented or anything, but it's we stay away from all that stuff.
Yeah.
But things that are just don't exist because people don't have the money to make them, we will go ahead and do that.
So, like, an example
of
something that might be copyrighted or trademarked would be, like, the Thing hand in the Addams Family. Thing is a character that you don't have the rights to. so you couldn't make that. But like
anything with art on it, we don't touch.
Gotcha. So like, what would be an example of something that doesn't have art on it? Because like, I'm trying to think of examples, but I'm not sure if I'm in the right space. You know.
Sure. So the flipper bats that are on this machine, those without their stickers on these ones, because it looks like it's been modded a bit.
Yeah.
But underneath there's a flipper bat, which is a piece of plastic with a metal shaft inserted in it. Mm-hmm. And those are things that I had to draw up and create the overmolding structure for it and send that off. So I drew the plastic part, I drew the metal part, I showed how they fit together. You send that off to manufacturer, and they do something called an overmolding process on it, which they take the metal shaft, put it inside an injection molding machine, and inject plastic around it.
Oh, it's very really cool. So they do Okay, so I'm familiar with injection molding because I worked in a styrofoam factory in college, but like we didn't put anything in the styrofoam. It was just, you know, we put the pellets in and added the steam and then popped it out of the mold. So yeah. That's I didn't realize that you could just injection mold things around metal, but I guess why not?
Yeah, it's called overmolding, and it happens a lot. You can even overmold around plastic. You can put like rubber around plastic. Like if you take like anyone who has a hand drill in the garage, right? You'll notice the drill itself is made of a plastic resin, but the actual like grip itself might have a rubber overmolding on it. So basically, they shoot the plastic part first, and when that's cooled and hardened, they'll take it out, stick it in a different mold, and then shoot the rubber over the top of it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Really cool.
I guess you have to do whatever has the highest melting point you do first, and then you work to progressively lower melting points.
Well, you'd be surprised too. Like you could actually do something with a lower melting point first,
really,
because the mold itself stays cool. They want to keep that cooled. So you'll stick this thing in there. Let's just say you made it out of wax or something.
Yep.
You could technically overmold something around it. The wax is a bit of an extreme example because it would probably melt from the hot plastic going on it.
Yeah.
But they really don't have to be that far off from each other, because the plastic itself that is melted hotter will cool pretty fast when it touches the other plastic.
That makes sense. Real quick, I want to thank our first tipper of the stream, Alexandra Bowley, who says, playing pinball while interviewing its creator. Awesome. So thank you very much for that 5. We're going to go ahead. We're doing a camera rotation gimmick tonight. Normally on my streams, the camera gets bigger when we get tips, but for these pinball streams, I'm rotating the camera by the number of degrees based on the number of dollars we receive. So I'm now 5 degrees rotated. So thank you, Alexandre Boyley. I probably pronounced your name wrong at least 3 times there. But yeah, let me go ahead. I haven't actually posted my tipping link because I've been so excited about our conversation. But if anybody would like to tip, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. So... Okay, so how many years were you designing individual parts for pinball machines before you started working on this one? Was that something
only about a year actually?
Okay,
so it's only about a year. So to note though, it would be neat. I mean, it would be. It was actually kind of neat because I was involved in the homebrew community for many years before this. So around 2010, I think I started working with Jerry Stellenberg and getting the homebrew community kind of built up and started working on other little various things. So I was very familiar with the people and the processes of what was going on here in order to actually build something like this.
Oh, that's cool. So,
yeah.
Like, when you were starting with off-the-shelf parts, you weren't necessarily starting with stuff that Spooky was going to have access to. You were starting with whatever you had access to.
That's correct, yeah, because I had no intention at the beginning of actually making this production game.
Yeah, so then, like, for example, like, you know, there are parts, like, one of the first parts that I want to build in my Minecraft pinball machine is the ball trough, which that might not even be the proper name for it.
Yeah, that is the ball trough, yep.
Oh, it is? Okay, great. Because I heard Jordan call it that when he was here, but, like, Jordan says a lot of things, you know?
yeah.
So, I wasn't 100% on that. But yeah, like, so for the ball trough on the original, did you just grab something from Pinball Life, or?
Yeah.
And then
yeah, absolutely. So it's the one. It's actually the one that Spooky was using, because Spooky does get a lot of parts from Pinball Light.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, like, and you have a pretty traditional, like, bottom third of the machine here too.
Yes.
Was that something that you knew you were gonna do going in?
Yeah.
I've heard this called an Italian bottom.
It is. It's an Italian bottom, and there's a lot of jokes about that, but that's a standard Italian bottom right there.
Yeah, and so, like, was that something that you knew 100%, like, this is a design constraint I'm giving myself, or did you noodle around first and then come back to it?
No, I said that's a design constraint, so I drew that up first, and got that solid.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the constraints I'm going to put on myself for whatever I come up with. Like, the way my Minecraft production schedule works is, I've got about a year to work on this project. And so right now, I'm just building out this giant scale, colossal, like, wireframe of the machine cabinet. But in about a month or two, I'm going to try and figure out, like, a theme and commit to, like, figuring out a playfield design and stuff like that, you know?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But, like, I feel...
Give yourself some ideas. Say, like, hey, I want to make a thing. Do I want ramps? Do I want prop bumpers? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel like by going with the 8.5 degree glass, I've kind of already committed to no ramps.
All right, perfect.
So that's something that I don't have to worry about. Because there's not a lot of room to put ramps in this, you know?
No, there's not. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm probably going to go with something similar, like either single plane, or if there is a second plane, it would be underneath, like in that old haunted house game that has like the basement and the inset and the
really
playfield.
cool,
yeah, there's some cool stuff I've seen people do with that, but yeah.
So, fun fact for you guys about Italian bottoms, why they call it that. It's pretty interesting. Hey, so your chat though wants you to know that it's Stellar Spider-Man's birthday today.
Oh, okay.
So you know.
Well, I don't know how multilingual you are, Scott.
Yeah, so so the Italian bottom, right? The Italian bottom got its name because there was a huge, like in the Williams 90s days, right? There was a huge distributor in Italy, and they bought basically just tons of Williams games every time they came out. But they refused to buy any games that didn't have this standard 2 slingshots, 2 flippers, Italian bottom is what we call it.
Yeah.
So that's how it got its name. So the Italian distribution company kind of is responsible for that.
Yeah, like I feel like you know, will it sell in Rome is a weird question to ask, but for pinball manufacturers, apparently that was a concern. Well, what I was gonna say was real quick. I normally do sing to my viewers in Spanish. I hope that's not too much of an indulgence, Scott. I know your time is valuable.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so feliz cumpleaños a ti, feliz cumpleaños a ti, feliz cumpleaños a Arachne Celestial, feliz cumpleaños a ti y muchas más. I don't know if that's actually the translation of Stellar Spider, but Arachne Celestial sounds right.
Yeah. It sounded right to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll just go to the Latin. It's a Latin language. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So whenever, at work, I am trying to learn Spanish by immersion. So there's some people. There's a people at my work that can speak Spanish. That's their first language. And I told them, I was like, hey, I want to learn Spanish. So some of them are trying to help me learn, and they will talk to me in Spanish.
Oh, fantastic! So I have to
kind of figure out, like, unless I really need something like really fast and really importantly, like they'll speak to me in English just so we can get it done. But like they're starting to, you know, speak to me in Spanish, and by immersion, I am starting to learn. So. I learned a funny joke that if when it's somebody's birthday, you always wish them a feliz quinceañera, which is which if you guys know what that is, that's like the bar mitzvah or the bat mitzvah for the for that culture. So it's like it's super funny because I think it translates to like their 15th birthday.
Nice.
Right? So it's really funny. And it's a compliment.
It's like, oh, you look so young.
Yeah, you look so young. You're but you're not 40. No way. You're 15.
Yeah.
So,
it's one of those like when you ask, the mom with her kid, "Are you sisters?" type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's a silly joke. You know the answer. It's a compliment, and you're being cute and funny at the same time.
Nice.
It's like it's great. Plus, it makes people laugh.
I'm trying to hit this right destroy target here. And, I will say, I'm probably, in terms of flipper skills, the worst pinball streamer you're gonna see.
You're not doing too bad, man. You're on Reactor 4.
Well, but I've also got it set to co-op mode with 4 players.
Well, you know what? No one has to know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty
no one can see that. Oh, wait, no.
No, it's on the screen, yeah. There it is.
So, Colonel Coffee has a question. Saying, what is the standard process for making a pinball layout? Like, are there conventions of the layout, or is it trial and error? A lot of it is trial and error and experience. So, for me, what I try to do is I try to do stuff that I have not seen yet. And there's that knocker, by the way.
That knocker.
That was a quadruple match, by the way.
Yeah, well, because it's in co-op mode.
That's insane.
So if you get the match.
You got one reactor with each player.
I want to pretend that was skill, but
that was awesome what just happened there. Sorry about interrupting the question answer, but that was really good. That was, you have successfully killed one reactor with every player. Yeah. So it gave it the 0-1 at the end of the score there. And then, that's really funny. Yeah. I like it.
Well, and while we're interrupting the question real quick, thank you to Carlos Ramirez for tipping 2, who says, "Great Espanol, gracias." So thank you. We're going to rotate that camera another 2 degrees there.
It's nice that you can get that exact. It's
yeah.
It makes a big difference. Because we'll know when it's 360.
Oh yeah. Well, so if we go all the way around, I'll go get my Beetlejuice suit. I don't know if you've seen me stream with that.
I have seen that, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, no, I can switch to talking like. I can't actually. It's weird. It's hard for me to do the voice if I'm not wearing the suit. It's one of those psychosomatic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think one time I came in and said, "Don't hurt your voice," but you're like, "Oh no, I'm a professional and I got this."
Yeah.
Because you apparently are very good at it and you do it a lot. So.
Well, so the funny thing is that's actually really similar to a voice that drill sergeants use. Because it's, even though it sounds like it would shred your vocal cords, you can just do that all day.
Wow.
But it makes it, it can mess with some of your other range if you're not practiced at it, but you can build that up.
Super interesting.
Yeah. So, the drill sergeants, they call that their frog voice, not their Beetlejuice voice.
All right.
Theirs is a little bit, croakier, but yeah.
So Colonel Coffee, it's a lot of trial and error, and what I do is I try to make things that I have not seen before. Although that is really, really difficult because of so many years of pinball has been made.
Yeah.
Basically everything has been done already. If you look at any kind of Bally machine or anything, there's 3-bank drop targets in every, tons of machines. There's inline drop targets and different machines. There's really nothing you can kind of do again. Even before TNA, people do think, people give me credit for coming up with the idea of locking pinballs behind drop targets, but unfortunately, I did not actually create that. That has been done before, it hasn't been done in such a way with an inline, and it does multiple of them. It just locked one. So Steve Ritchie and Pat Lawler have both done that in games previously.
So are you allowed, this is going to sound kind of weird, because maybe this is a totally different thing in the pinball world than in other spaces that I operate in. But if I have a guest who's a tabletop role-playing game designer on the show, they actually, contractually, they cannot talk about unpublished ideas. They can criticize things that exist already. But if I speculated, if I said, what if I designed a character class like this? They would say, I'm sorry, I can't actually, contractually, I can't talk about that on stream. If I wanted to, pitch ideas for, what I'm imagining for my Minecraft pinball machine, is that cool for you, or is that going to be a weird space?
No, it's all good. You can do that stuff. And so I try not to look at other people's pinball designs though.
Yeah.
Because when I go about doing something, I may my brain will forget what I saw on your pinball machine, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm just my brain's constantly moving around and doing stuff. But subconsciously, one of your ideas could be back in my brain still, and I just don't know it's there. And I could see an opportunity to use something like that. And I'll be like, oh, that would be cool if I did this. And then, I make the machine, and then you get mad at me because I stole something from your game, but I didn't actually mean to. And then I feel bad, and then you feel bad, and then, it just kind of stinks. And that does happen. I do try to stay away from that stuff. I just give people like the heads up, like, hey, if there's something in there and something I make down the road looks a little similar, I probably didn't do it purposely,
Yeah, no, I
don't get upset.
I get that, because like sometimes I'll come up with a joke and I'll like check on Twitter and I'll be like, has anybody else ever made this joke? And it's like, nope, nobody else has ever made this joke. And then I'll post it and somebody will be like, hey, didn't so-and-so say that to you on a stream like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang it.
Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah. And yeah, jokes are a really good analogy for that. There's so many jokes out there and so many people saying jokes. I mean, how do you even, like, as a stand-up comedian, how do you even double check that? There must be some like master book of like jokes and who said them and who came up with them, like,
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll check Twitter for like keywords from the joke, or like if there's like a particular way the phrase works, I'll be like, has anybody come up with this? And sometimes somebody did, but then I'll be like, I'll retweet their thing from 4 years ago and go, dang it, I just came up with this in the shower and so beat me to it, right?
Yeah.
Mine would have been structured like this, but like so got there first, right?
Yeah.
And so by retweeting them and then adding my own tilt on it, it kind of, yeah. So I will say, Scott, honestly, if anything I came up with ended up in your game, I would not be insulted. I might mention it to you later, but like it'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this random thing actually was that good.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Like, also, I can't talk about what I'm currently working on either. That's really the only contractual thing that I have.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to push you on anything like that, because this is not like a like an investigative reporting thing where I, like, it's not like you're working with the White House and I'm like, but really, how do the Ukrainians keep knowing where the Russian generals are? Because, that's more generals than has been killed in any modern conflict. Is there somebody leaking that out of here? Or, like, that's not what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
But Kyle definitely wants to know what I'm working on, which is funny. But I also have a big fear of, like, so someone in chat mentioned it's the biggest fear in any creative process is accidentally copying somebody. I had this happens a lot in music, actually, because so much music has been created already.
Yeah.
That there was there still is, there's a beep sound in the Total Nuclear Annihilation song that's for this game.
Yeah.
And there is a song that sounds kind of similar at the beginning of their song. Obviously, it's a completely different song structure, completely different everything else going on, but you can hear this beep, and it's very similar to that beep that you're hearing right there.
Like, I have no pitch, so I can't replicate it, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Someone pointed out that, like, someone copied you, and I looked at it again, and I'm like, well, actually, they wrote that song first. And I'm like, uh-oh, did I hear that? And then, like, come up with this? So I was like, I was kind of embarrassed by it, but I mean, it's not anything that would, someone would come after you and say you copied my stuff, but it's not great when you come up with something and then something else sounds very similar and then you kind of doubt your creative process. It's not fun.
So, okay, so here's my idea. And one of the reasons I wanted to mention it to you is because you might say, actually, that's been done in these 5 games, and then I want to go see how they did it.
Sure.
But, a lot of traditional games, like this one, you go up and you do the full orbit, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, what if you had something that was, like, closer to, like, maybe not a full figure 8, but you have it come up and then hook back down, and then you have, like, a J ramp or something over here, where if you're full strength, it'll catch it and kind of, but there would be, like, gaps between the ramps, because obviously you can't have a bowl or the ball will get stuck at certain speeds, right?
Right.
And, like, maybe have the crook up here, go around a pop bumper. So like maybe the skill shot is if you have it go to the top of the crook and then fall straight down on the pop bumper, that's the skill shot. Or you could have it, if you go all out on the plunger, it would go, do this like crazy like crossover thing. And
no, that sounds really cool. I don't think I've seen that.
Okay,
I don't
awesome.
think that exists. Do it.
Cool.
Then you'll see that in my next game then. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I honestly, that's one of those things where, like, yeah, because I wanted, like, at the point where the game doesn't have to necessarily be playable because it's like a model or a replica. I wanted to I don't want to play too fast and loose. Like I said, I'm not gonna have a bowl that the ball would just get caught in due to gravity. But like,
well, I mean, in Minecraft, pardon my ignorance, but in Minecraft, could you make it actually play?
Not at this scale. Because the scale I'm working at is 128 meters wide for the cabinet and about 256 meters deep. So this is every centimeter on this actual cabinet, because this is the one I'm basing it off of. Like, y'all can see my hands. Like, this physical machine is what I'm measuring for the scaling. Every centimeter on here is 2.286 blocks in game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's about a half centimeter to a block, roughly. And so this thing, there's nothing in the game that moves fast enough to cover that distance in the way that a ball would actually work. So I was actually going to roll back to prototyping. So when you were trying to figure out like the rough geometry of your game, were you just kind of going off gut instinct, or were you using like any sort of VPX or anything like that to build rough mock-ups to like physics simulators? For those of you who don't know what VPX is, there are like pinball physics simulators where you could put components in certain places or have certain arcs and kind of test things. Did you do any of that, or just jump right in?
I did not. So what's interesting about that is a lot of people do that, and it's not a bad idea to do that. But I go off of I kind of build physically and kind of build old school. For this machine, I cut the Italian bottom into it, I populated it, and I started drawing on the wood to see where I wanted things. And then I started drilling holes into it and like move things around and put a pop bumper in a certain spot. And then I just kept modifying it and cutting new playfields with more and more of it into the computer. When I did Rick and Morty, I actually did that completely in SolidWorks and not in VPX. And basically, once I can get something in SolidWorks, I can cut a playfield, populate it, and try it out for real. Because things in virtual pinball simulators aren't going to act the same exact way in real life.
Yeah, certainly
they're
not.
very close, but not exactly the same.
And so you said you laid out the Italian bottom and populated it. You just put in physically the Italian bottom and then drew everything else, or were there other parts that you also put in?
Well, I had the Italian bottom in there. I had a slingshot in there, and I had a few posts in there. And from there, I just started drawing like where I wanted the orbit to be, and just some other little things here and there, some star posts, maybe the centerpiece, and the drop targets. And then from there, once I was like, oh, that kind of looks right, it makes sense, and I can actually flip the game. I then added that to the 3D file and cut another playfield, and then populated those things into it and tried it out.
That makes sense. And so did you already have like the skip ramp, as you called it, that comes off the shooter lane figured out, or was that later?
No, actually, I did it a little bit later. Actually, 3D printed it on the whitewood prototype.
Gotcha.
So it's a 3D printed little ramp thing. It's kind of cool.
Okay, so the metal that's on here on the final one though was like a part that you had to have custom designed then.
No, it's actually a replica of a Williams part that Spooky used.
Oh, okay.
So they already had the design for it, and they were it really is just a piece of metal with like two bends in it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And so, you said you used as many off-the-shelf parts as possible here. So you had an off-the-shelf skip ramp, the pop bumpers and drop targets. Those are all off-the-shelf too.
Yep, all the stand-up targets, drop targets. All of this stuff really is off-the-shelf. All the star posts, the in-lane guides, the flippers.
To clarify, for
all of that.
So the star posts, correct me if I'm wrong, those are hard to see on the way that we're looking at this. But like the slingshots are gonna have like 3 screws in them, and then there's posts that secure them. Is that a star post?
That is a star post. That plastic piece is a star post. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I'm still like I've been playing pinball since I was a child, but like I don't know all the words, and, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't want to make assumptions, and I know that a lot of my viewers know less than I do. So if I'm uncertain about something, I'm like, oh boy, let's check with Scott. He knows how to make this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Colonel Coffee had another question about the how many prototypes I go through. It really depends on how complicated the design is and how much I get right on the first try. So. For TNA, I think I went through maybe 5 different prototype cuts before I decided on a final version. Rick and Morty, I think I only went through about 4. So it wasn't that much. Usually it's a lot more. But since I can kind of look at everything in 3D, it just kind of I don't know, it kind of looked good to me on the computer, and I could get a good glimpse of what's going on. So. But yeah, it's like 4 to 5 usually, sometimes, but it's not unheard of to do like 10.
Did you do a lot of repairing of pinball machines before you got into all this?
I did, yeah, so I collected pinball machines for a long time before that, so I just knew how they worked mechanically. I got kind of used to how all of that went, but yeah, it's a really fun hobby though. It's expensive now, unfortunately. Like I remember before I got my first pinball machine I bought was like $300, and then
wow, that's night and day difference versus today's market.
I know it's bad, and you just can't get a pinball machine for $300 anymore, which is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like it's keeping people out of the hobby, which these people need to be in the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Hey.
Don't Panic Flip is here as well.
Hey, Don't Panic Flip. Hey, Tracy from Outer Space. You know, normally
Tracy's here.
Yeah, I was gonna say normally I try to be a lot more interactive with the stream, but like having a guest, you know, it kind of changes the pacing a little bit. So yeah, Scott, feel free if you see something in the chat. It's easier for you to look at it than me.
Absolutely, yeah, I got it right up on my screen here.
Yeah,
so it's great.
Hey, and speaking of people doing stuff, we just got 20 rolling in from Cody. Apologies that let's see, PayPal isn't actually showing the description on the tips right now. There's some sort of glitch with that. But so if you mentioned like, hey, please credit me as this, I'm sorry I can't see it. I'm just going to do first names. But thank you so much, Cody, for that 20. That's going to get us up to 27 degrees angular rotation here. So yeah, it's funny because like I don't really expect to make money off these pinball streams. Like, when I first started streaming, like in 2008, I was just drawing comics at night after I got off work. And it was just a way to keep up with people. Yeah. And so, like, now that streaming is my day job, or making YouTube videos and stuff is kind of my day job with the Minecraft stuff, I wanted to make sure I didn't lose kind of the joy of it, you know? And like, having streams where it's like, I go into this knowing, like, this is going to have a smaller audience, it's not going to make money, but, like, that's okay. Like, I didn't get into this to make money. I got into this to hang out with cool people, like, you know, because I used to hang out with the people that I would meet at conventions, you know, so instead of seeing each other once a year, or only talking once a year, you know, it's like, okay, well, we can hang out and chat while I draw, you know? Yeah. And so being able to hang out here and chat with you is kind of like a throwback to that, you know? And I'm really, really appreciative, once again, that you were able to make it out tonight, Scott.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, so the machine gets really glowy at times. Yes, so there on this machine there is a mod that we came up with where you put fluorescent green protectors underneath the flat plastics that are on it. So it's slightly, as you can look at it right now, it's slightly discoloring the plastics, kind of yellowy looking.
I also realized I didn't lock the focus on this for the first hour. Sorry about that, if the camera was changing focus when the light show went off.
No, it's funny. I didn't even notice.
It's focus locked now.
Yeah, but yeah. So when the actual GI, which is the light bulbs that are underneath that fluorescent green plastic, go blue, that lights up the plastic in a really awesome way. As you'll see when he gets into multi-ball, it's going to turn all the lights blue. In turn, making the fluorescent green plastic like the edges of it glow really bright, like a 1990s laser tag arena.
Yeah,
So it looks really cool.
Yeah, the aesthetics and the art on this machine. Like, I know you worked with Matt Andrews on that because I can look at the note right here on the playfield. Yep. Like, did you already have the color scheme kind of figured out and the aesthetic, or did he pitch that to you?
I had the color scheme already sort of picked out. And I do have a funny story about that because Matt Andrews is a good friend of mine. We became friends over this project, actually.
Oh, cool.
He does all the artwork for my albums that I release, and very, very talented artist. But a funny story for you. So let me get back to. I'll come back to the funny story. Let me finish answering the question.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a color scheme in mind. I wanted a dark middle of the playfield and then neon stuff everywhere else, like almost annoying neon. Like I love that crazy synthwave, like neon crap all over the place thing. So that's what our target was, and I think we definitely succeeded on it. It's an aesthetic that was in 2015 was really starting to gain mainstream traction too. So I think we hit it right at the good time, where it wasn't yet overused. And
I will say, when I put pinball streams up on the TV, like my kid would usually just be like, "Nope, I'm not interested." Okay, fine, it's Dad's TV time. I'm in the other room now. She saw someone streaming TNA, and that was the first time she was just like, "Oh, I want to watch this." Like, she saw the pink and the purple and the neon, and she's just like, this is appealing to me. And like, we sat down and we watched it together. We talked about it, and like, having this machine in the apartment now too with the co-op mode, it's just been great. You know, we were talking about getting people into the hobby, like making something with a bunch of bright pink and purple and stuff. Like, that's gonna attract some young kids and hopefully get them into it more than, like, because like Rush is great if you want to sell to a bunch of 40-year-old Canadians.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get a 9-year-old girl into it, it's not necessarily going to be. It's like, I've never heard any of this music. I don't know what this is. Granted, she never heard any of this music either. But this is like this is more accessible to her than Rush.
Yeah. Well, but also there's no lyrics in it either, so it's not really like it doesn't. I don't know. I still feel like the music is very approachable for some reason, and there's little things that I did to make that happen. It's not an exact science. You kind of have to just experiment with it, really.
Yeah, like you have the bass come in once you actually plunge the ball, and like there's a lot of great little touches on the machine that are just fantastic.
Absolutely. So a funny story about Matt Andrews and I, just a funny little interaction we had recently. I put out a new album called The System of Parts, I think about a year ago now, maybe not quite a year ago. But we were talking about the album art for it, and I was like, okay, so Matt's like, hey Scott, go ahead and pick a color palette. Right, so he's got this like website that he sends me to that I go and I click on colors that I like, and it kind of helps put things together so things look nice, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm like, well, I want something different than like we don't want to just keep doing the TNA thing over and over again, because we've been doing a lot of like TNA artwork spin-offs. Yeah. Everything's been pink and purple and bright, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So I want to pick a completely different color palette. I go in. I'm clicking around a lot of stuff, and I'm like, okay, this color palette looks amazing to me. All right, I send it over to Matt Andrews, and he goes, Scott, we're not doing that one. And I'm like, why not? Wait, you don't like this one? He goes, no, man. He goes, it's exactly the TNA color palette again. He's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I looked at it again, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you were 100% right. That is just straight up TNA. Like,
it feels right for some reason.
And just like, he's like, I get that you like those colors. He's like, pick something else, man. So, my favorite color is like neon pink, man. And I just, I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
Totally fair.
I
was going to say real quick, we got tip for 10 rolling in from Don't Panic Flip. Thank you so much, George, for
10
that.
degrees.
So we're up to 37 degrees here. Broken out of freezing. Okay.
All right.
So thank you, George, for that.
Yeah, so let me catch up on chat really quick. There's some questions coming in here. So Kyle says, where did you come up with the Slingshot reactor? Just start nuclear reactor as a theme and Fish Incorporated. Oh, so the original theme was I wanted to make like an anti-hero theme where someone was going in and destroying power plants. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if it was like a nuclear reactor thing, 'cause that's like really serious, you know. From there I was like, oh, I'll just make like a reactor core, you know, you can shoot the ball into, and then it just kind of got out of control from there. And then by the time it hit production, I took away more of the anti-hero aspect of it because I didn't really want, I wanted it to be more of a positive message than a negative message.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and I wanted to, there's a lot of things I did in this game too that kind of, you know, helped out, and I don't know, just kind of, I wanted the overall message to be positive. I wanted a female main character that's just a badass, because that hadn't been done in pinball enough, and I had this opportunity now to make a pinball machine with anything that I wanted on it. So I got to just pick all this stuff. So I picked bright colors. I picked, you know, a hero that is a female and you know, super badass. And yeah, it just it was really interesting. Yeah, and the theme itself, I just kind of toned it down. So it was supposed to be kind of like a shock factor thing, like, oh my gosh, you're the bad guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just, you know, it just didn't quite sit well with me after a while there. So
that's fair. So did the reactor always have that many slings up there? Because, like, if I understand correctly, when you're trying to build a pinball machine, one of the big concerns from a production standpoint is the bill of materials cost. And so having, 3 slingshots up there, like each slingshot needs like a coil in it, which is like an inductor. And I'm guessing those aren't cheap. If I went on Pinball Life right now and needed to replace one of these, George, I promise I'm not about to break your machine. What would that cost me?
I will look it up. I will look it up really quick. Let's see what we're looking at here.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
I'd be fine with a ballpark, but you know.
No. I'm gonna get the exact thing, and I'm gonna put the link in the description here, or in the chat here, so that we can.
There you go.
We can see what's going on. People can see what these things actually cost. So. Well, here we go.
And
it is $45.
$45 for each of those. Now, that's if you're replacing them one at a time. When you're ordering, you made 550 of these machines, and you've got 5 slingshots in each one. I know you can't necessarily get
you get a discount.
Yeah, you can't
I can't tell you what that number is, but the retail price of it is $45 each.
Gotcha.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That link I threw in the chat there is what the slingshot assembly looks like. That's bolted under the paper.
Oh, nice. Once I am not like actively playing a ball, I'll copy that link from Twitch over to YouTube. So don't worry, YouTube chat.
Okay, perfect.
You'll get it.
Sorry, YouTube chat.
No. It's not a long delay.
It's just kind of a fun thing there. So. Yeah, so what else was I talking about? I had some other funny stories too. Oh yeah, so speaking of the color palette of this game, funny story about my favorite color being neon pink is I was talking on a video chat to a group of, or to a class of second graders on what I do, because they were interested in like pinball and something weird, and they're really great. They're just like, I'm presenting this thing. I'm saying like, hey, I make these parts, and here's what they look like, and this is what I do, and you know, I do all this really great stuff. And they were like, and so it came down to the question time, and then they were saying, hey, what's your favorite shape? So I'm like, oh, like a circle, or you know, a rhombus or something. You know, I was thinking like, I'm just trying to like go with some funny things.
Yeah.
But the kids weren't interested at all in the pinball stuff after that, so they started just asking me funny questions like, what's my favorite animal?
Yeah.
Which is probably a dog. And the question came up, what's my favorite color? Yeah. And the answer to that question is neon pink. So when I said neon pink, I could see all of in this Zoom meeting, I could see all of the kids. And when I said that, so many of them had like shocked faces, and a bunch of them were asking like the teacher, they're like, can can a boy like neon pink? And the teacher's like, oh, absolutely. Like, you know, there's no rules. Like, you can like whatever you want. And it was like just this really like heartwarming moment of liking neon pink for me. I don't know. It's just like, it was just really, it was kind of neat because they were all really excited that I liked that color. And it was just so funny to me.
Well, yeah, and you never know, like, what kids get or don't get at home.
Yeah,
but, yeah. So that's great. And, like, you know, I'm a single parent, so I'm breaking all sorts of weird gender norms or whatever already, you know, and, like, not because I'm trying to, but just because that's how it is, you know? But, real quick, I wanted to say thank you very much to Ant Snail for tipping 25. That is going to get us another 25 degrees of rotation here. So
25 degrees is a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is that? What is the final result? 25 plus 37. Luckily, I've got an abacus here, so I can see it's 62. So,
nice.
Yeah, just rolling up to that. So thank you very much.
That's a good rotation right there.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're really trying not to tilt. I was going to say, Scott, we've been going for about an hour. Do you need to refresh your tea or anything?
Oh, I'm good right now. Thank you.
Okay, great. I just,
I'll just randomly get up and be like, hey, I gotta go get some more tea.
No, that's fair. Well, if you don't mind, do you mind if I dip into the kitchen real quick to refill my drink? Because, like, my throat...
Sure, I'll talk with chat while you're gone. We can party while Joe goes to refill.
Yeah, luckily my apartment's so small, this is like a 25-second thing. But I'll be right back. Thanks, Scott.
All right, guys, so how he's gone. Ask me the questions. What do you guys want to know? He's gone. You remember in grade school, like the teacher would leave the room for just like 2 seconds to talk to someone in the hallway, and like everyone would be like, "Oh, we can party on our desks or whatever." Yeah, I don't know. How do you not fall over at that angle? Well, Joe has magnets in his shoes, so I'm gonna give away a secret. Why is there no neon pink party? We're gonna have a neon pink party. And we talked about my work with multimorphic. I have not yet talked about the work with multimorphic yet.
I definitely did want to talk about that. Yeah. I was going to say, though, because a lot of the community here is not as familiar with Pinball, I kind of wanted to build up to that because, like, fundamentals kind of first. Because multimorphic is doing some really cool stuff, but it's, like, new and out there, you know? So, but yeah, we could talk about that next. But first off, real quick though, Roselia Moon, thank you for tipping 5, who says, I'm so curious about the machines behind Scott. So Scott, yeah, actually, do you mind running us through like what's in your collection and why real quick?
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff behind me. So the first thing is actually TNA right here. You can see that's the side view of TNA.
I'm gonna make your screen bigger temporarily.
Yeah, let's do that.
Quick,
perfect.
So people will be able to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so TNA, that is obviously the game we're playing today. That's the game that I created. The one next to it is Rick and Morty. Sorry for my pointing. I'm not super good at pointing on camera. So,
no, that's fine.
That one's Rick and Morty with the purple and everything on it. That's the second machine that I designed.
And that was a freelance job, right?
That was a contract job with Spooky, correct? Yep. The next one there is Bride of Pinbot, which is with my finger right there. Bride of Pinbot. That's the 2.0 kit, which was made by Dutch Pinball. It's a Williams game with an upgraded computer, upgraded display, upgraded software completely in there. It's really neat. I helped out Dutch Pinball when they were doing that by doing a bunch of testing and voice acting and hardware design for them to make that kit actually come to life, which is neat. And then there's a multimorphic P3 next to it there, currently loaded with the game Heist. So that's the one I've been playing lately. I don't yet have my Weird Al, which hopefully I will have sooner than later because I am excited about that one that just came out.
Well, didn't you do the sound design on that Weird Al game?
I did, yeah, I did. I did all the sound design on it. I did all the voice processing, and I wrote 2 tracks for it, actually.
Well, that's very cool.
2 custom-made music tracks just for that game,
now,
which is fun.
Did Weird Al review those tracks to approve them?
His review processed it. I would like to think that Al reviewed them and listened to them and said, "Gee, Scott, your really great at writing music, but I really doubt he did that.
That's fair. Well, I know he can get.
I would love that though.
Yeah, he's so busy, but yeah, no, but that's still cool.
I don't
like,
think it's the case.
You got 2 tracks on a Weird Al pinball game. That's pretty awesome as a musician.
It is. I'm very, very proud of that, and that whole project I'm very proud of, and the team on that project was ridiculous.
Very cool. And then, is there anything? Yeah, then you've got a few more.
Yeah. There's a few more back there. So that's Dr. Dude. That is a System 11 game that is one of my favorites that I had restored by a good friend of mine. So it looks basically brand new.
System 11 is like Gottlieb.
It's an era. No, it's a Williams.
A Williams, sorry.
Yeah, but it's like the 1980s era. Mm-hmm. It is it's super crazy. It's got like neon colors all over it, which I am very attracted to. You guys should look that up though. Just look up, do a Google search for Dr. Dude Pinball and look at the artwork that's on it. It's really cool looking. And it's like super corny. It's got like dumb little comics on it, and it's just very, very funny. It's like 80s all wrapped up in one thing. And then the thing next to it here in the middle is High Speed. That is by Steve Ritchie, one of my favorite pinball designers. That High Speed was the first pinball machine that I ever bought. And then I actually sold that one and rebought another one and restored this one. So yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, and Joe, thank you for the link. That is awesome.
Yeah, and
a killer ramp.
And that's one of the things I haven't gotten to really do yet in pinball is like restore a machine. But one of the things that made me attracted to the hobby is like maybe this is something worth investing in the long term. When I started thinking about that when my kid was like 3 or 4, and I was like, everything we have in the house is you can't take it apart. You can't fix it, you know? And, like, I remembered when I was that age, my dad was starting to, like, say, okay, you can sit at the workbench and watch me take something apart and fix it. You can't touch anything because you're a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm going to talk to you about what I'm doing and these electronics and what they do and stuff like that. And that's something I was like, pinball seems like one of the last places where you could open something up with your kid and replace something. Because I guess, you know, all the parts have
nowadays is throwaway.
Yeah. So it's a shame. But yeah, when anything that you put like a ball bearing in that goes like 95 miles an hour and hits stuff, you got to be able to replace those parts it hits, you know?
Yep.
So, that's cool. And
luckily I engineer those parts that break.
Yeah, that's a great business to be in.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great business, you know. Yeah, a lot of fun. Oh, and then last thing, real quick too. Sure. Golden Tee. That's a Golden Tee machine.
Nice. And that's a golf game with a trackball. For those of you who haven't seen one.
It's super fun. I learned to golf at age 7. I'm not so good at it anymore, but it's something that still is you know, still a part of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's it's so fun like when games have interesting control systems like that, you know, like it's very tactile. So yeah, because I remember like the old Breakout games at like the skating rink when I was a kid had the trackball too, and there's just something fun about it, you know.
Well, it's analog.
Yeah.
Like video games, whenever you're playing, like if you're playing a Nintendo, right? You have buttons, so it's kind of like it feels almost like digital, right? So you're like you can hit the buttons in a certain order, but like when you're playing something with a trackball, there's infinite amounts of directions that you can push that trackball.
Oh yeah, you get total control over the speed and stuff like that. Well, I got the reactor jackpot, but now I gotta overheat this thing.
Yep.
So one thing I haven't done this stream is actually explained the game. Because at this point, I did that last week and the week before. The real quick version, if anybody is wondering who just came in this time, there's kind of a few... Oh, that was dumb. I should have let it roll over the light. There's a few phases to each reactor. First, you hit the keypad, or hack the grid up here, which represents like a 3x3 numeric keypad, in order to unlock the reactor. Then you shoot the scoop to start the reactor. Once it's started, you got to get up here in the core, bounce it around off the slings and the targets there to overheat the reactor, and then to actually destroy it, you've got to hit the destroy targets. And then you do it again 9 times. If you're really good at the game. I've gotten to Reactor 5 once, and it was earlier this stream, and I don't think I even started it. But, yeah. Is that a pretty succinct but accurate?
That is great. That's a really great explanation.
Thank you.
But there's a lot of other nuances to the whole thing, too, like getting in multi-ball and getting mystery awards and maximizing your reactor value before you blow it up.
Yeah. I gotta say, this, the ball is hitting the glass off that skip ramp more often these days. I gotta look into that. I don't know what to do about that. But
That's probably just hitting something. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay. Because it's not every time, but it's always the auto plunge that does it. Is there any an admin setting to turn down the auto plunge intensity?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so that's something I can do in the service menu, I think it's called, right?
Yep, you do it right in the service menu.
Great, okay.
Oh, Wind Raider's here as well.
Hey, Wind Raider!
Yep, the grid is supposed to mimic a numeric keypad. It's you're trying to fill in the keypad. It's kind of like Pinbot.
Yeah.
Pinbot's got like I think a 5x5 grid instead of a 3x3.
I do apologize to all the regular VR chat crew that you hang out with on Friday for stealing you on a Friday night, because
yeah, they're pretty mad at me right now.
Yeah. It's all my fault. Blame me.
It's all Joe's fault.
Yeah. It's just that this is kind of yeah, this was when the other 2 musicians could do it, and doing like a 3-week series of having a musician on the show to talk about their creative process. But yeah, it's just been fun having in-studio guests again. And seriously though, if you're ever passing through Nashville or whatever, like, we could make a stream or something happen here.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping, so I've already booked my hotel room for Chicago Pinball Expo, but it's going to be kind of a tight schedule, because my kid gets out of school at like 3 on Friday, and I've got to get her back in time for school on Monday. So we're going to be like driving straight from Nashville to Chicago, getting in super late Friday night, and then leaving like Sunday after breakfast. So it'll be like, I'll be there on Saturday at least. But
that'll be fine, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully I can see
we'll play some Pogs.
Awesome. Yeah, I got to get my custom Pogs printed.
Yep.
Yeah, Scott is on
awesome.
Twitch as well at twitch.tv/Scott Danesi, which looks like has gone off the top of this chat, so I can retype that real quick. Okay, there we go. And also, I want to go ahead and see who we need to thank here. We just got another tip rolling in from Rebecca for 20, so thank you very much, Rebecca.
All right.
So, once again, I apologize that the tip descriptions aren't coming in via PayPal right now. That's some sort of glitch, but yeah, thank you, Rebecca. So that's going to get us another 20 degrees of rotation. I need to make sure that I select the right thing, because otherwise we're going to have Scott here rotating, and you know, he's not ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, uh-oh.
Well, I mean, if someone, like, if they tip enough, I can start rotating.
So here we go. I'm going up to, we were at 67. I'm going up to 87 here. So the weird thing is, if it's at 90 degrees, it would just look like I accidentally, like, turned the camera sideways, or like, the camera accelerometer caught it. But at 87, it still looks like it's puckish and playful.
Yeah. So hopefully no one donates it to 90.
Yeah. Nobody give me $3. But
that's super funny.
Yeah. So to bring it back a little bit to working with Spooky. So you did 500 or what was it? 550, I think you said.
Yeah, 550
machine.
units of this game.
Yeah, and that was that a sellout, or like was that just what you happened to sell?
That was what we happened to sell. We eventually said like, hey, we're gonna stop taking orders so then we can move on to the next thing, right? Because they had Alice Cooper lined up to go after TNA. Once this was done, they kind of just like, the interest was starting to fade out a little bit, and they just said, okay, we're closing orders, like this is it. But something really interesting is that interest for Total Nuclear Annihilation has actually gotten more over the years here, and Spooky's actually going to be running it again. They just don't know exactly when.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I'd heard like rumors of that, but I wasn't sure like if that was like formally announced or anything.
Yeah, well, it is going to happen. There's just no formal date yet. They're not sure, and they don't want to say a date because if they need to move it around, they don't want to make people upset.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Will be running
so,
yeah.
and I don't want to press you on that. Yeah, but
so I don't even know either. Like they really don't know. Like there really isn't a we don't know thing.
Was there anything like because like these green inserts or what is that what the word is inserts?
No, you're talking about the plastics.
Yeah, the green plastics. What are the protectors? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are an upgrade that Don't Panic Flip put on this one before he rented it to me. Is there anything like that you were like, oh, I love how this mod looks so much, we're gonna like make it standard in the new machine, or is that something you can't talk about?
Yeah, so there's a few things actually. There's those green protectors are gonna come on it from the factory.
Oh, awesome! That was a really good guess because I did not have inside knowledge on that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Awesome.
There's also going to be translucent and lit up drop targets.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I saw somebody streaming with the translucent light up drop targets the other day, and I was like, Now the thing is,
they're actually integrated into the code too, which is neat.
Yeah, because I was going to say the only thing I didn't like about them was that the lights seemed to be on their kind of own like just random rainbow thing. They weren't tied into the code of the game.
Oh, weird. Yeah, then that's not hooked up right because there is a way to tie those into the code of the game.
Oh, interesting. And it might be that the person just hadn't fully set it up or something like.
That could be what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just some random stream. I was like, hey, I know that game. Let me pop in. It wasn't somebody I knew, so I didn't like want to bother him about it. But yeah, I was like, because it's a great idea, but like having that fully integrated with like the music and all the rest of the lighting stuff would be so cool. Okay, so, like, is there, like I know pinball machines are selling for a lot more than when this came out in 2017. Is there a ballpark on, like, if you wanted to start saving for one of these? Like...
Yeah, so the original TNA machines were $6,000 when it first came out. And the new ones are going to be a bit more expensive, but I don't know what they're planning on doing yet.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it will be more than $6,000.
Okay. So, folks,
this game is definitely not for a beginner. Unless you're playing co-op with somebody.
Yeah, co-op is what's great about this game for beginners because there's no like my daughter doesn't like competing with me. We had a Guardians of the Galaxy before this, and the great thing about that was she could start a high-scoring mode like Yaka Arrow, and I would practice some of the like harder to complete modes like I forget the yellow one, Sanctuary I think it's called, where you're trying to hit some of the smaller targets around the playfield, and so I could kind of practice. Hey, you got another quadruple there.
You got it again.
Yeah. I don't know what the settings on this is, or maybe it's too generous with the
60. Yeah, it hit on 60.
Yeah. Hey, Quiet Devious tipping 3 just to make it look like my camera's broken. Thanks, Quiet Devious. We're gonna go ahead. That's gonna put us at 90 even there. There it is. So
it's just a broken camera.
Now the camera looks wrong. Thanks, Quiet Devious. You did it. You broke the stream. No, I appreciate it. No, thank you to everybody who supported the show. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat. I'm going to go ahead and post that link real quick. So on my desktop, I've got like a notepad file that I copy and paste stuff over from, but the laptop doesn't have as much screen space. So even if I had that file open, it's just like, it would just get buried. It's a mess. I gotta say, a lot of pinball streamers are some of the most production-oriented, polished streamers, like Manu Smith with Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. He runs a video production company, so he knows how to do all this. Whereas, everything I've ever done is always very quick and dirty. And I realize anytime that I invest money back into the stream or my YouTube stuff, I'm always buying tools that let me make things quicker. but I'm not necessarily going for more polished. It's just as dirty, but it's faster now. I'm doing more of it, you know? So, thank you to everybody for putting up with my garbage aesthetic. For those of you coming in from pinball streams who are used to good things. Quiet Devious 1, tips 20, who says, now you can be on a mountain in Australia. So here we go, gonna rotate that.
Oh, perfect.
There we are, 110 degrees angular. Boom. So thank you very much, Quiet Devious 1.
And if he hits 360, the Beetlejuice is coming out.
Yeah. We've never gotten close to that on a pinball stream, I will say. But, you know, like I said, I'm doing this because, like, I actually am learning a lot about audio and camera stuff because capturing audio with a loud pinball machine in front of you is a different kind of challenge than what I do with Minecraft, where I'm in, like, a perfectly silent environment, basically, in my actual studio. Like, I can't get it. There's no way to get the pinball machine where my desktop is. It's just, like, not feasible. So I've got in this awkward space outside my kitchen where it's like, oh, if you put anything else here, it would be in the way. And I mean, arguably this is in the way too, but it's a pinball machine, so, you know, I can't not have it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, let's see. So we were just talking about the next run. So you worked with Spooky about on the Rick and Morty project.
Yep.
And what year did that come out? That was pretty recent, right?
That was 2018. I think I did the design for it, and I think I started building. They started building it in 2019.
Gotcha. Okay, so honestly, anything in the last like 3 years feels like it just happened. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so were you already like a pretty big fan of Rick and Morty, or were you like, excuse me, what is this? It sounds weird.
No, I was a big fan. That's how he hooked me into doing it again. I was like, I can't really build another pinball machine. I just don't have the time. I want to relax and just hang out and play VR with my friends, you know, in my spare time. But then he's like, well, what if what if we got the Rick and Morty theme? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, because Rick and Morty is just an amazing show.
Yeah, I've only had the opportunity to play it once in Nashville here because we don't have it at Game Terminal, which is kind of my like primary pinball playing location. Although I heard No Quarter is actually renting it now over in East Nashville, so I'm gonna give it a try if I can get over there. But yeah, they had one down at Game Galaxy in Smyrna, which is like 25 minutes outside of town, which is like just far enough that it's like I don't know. Like the reason I live in the city is to not leave the city. But yeah, when I played it, it was really cool. One of the interesting design choices you made on that was you got rid of part of the Italian bottom. You replaced this left sling here with the pop bumper.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so the left sling is a pop bumper on that game, which adds a whole new dynamic to it. Also, that company, the distributor from Italy, probably would not buy the game.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have any numbers on your Italian sales?
I don't know, but I'm sure it's probably low.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Rick and Morty is just, it's wild. The game itself is very chaotic. Well, as is TNA, as you can see, that thing just basically destroyed itself with off a pop bumper off the side, and then it hit one of the destroy targets. That was really awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things about being an improvisational entertainer. Is sometimes I just try to make it look like I did something on purpose. Like, yeah, that was where that ball was going to go. I meant to lock that, you know. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Whoa! Ball control is something that like a pro player would care a lot more about than I do. But I'm like, there's a ball save. We're just gonna keep batting it around.
Just bounce off of that. It's fine.
Yeah, I really need to actually work on my like core flipper skills more. But like, you know, for me this is just one of those things where it's like I get to not look at a computer screen for a while. This is just a way for me to do something different and stand up in the middle of the day. Like I try to play at lunch, or like sometimes if I got because this is right next to my kitchen, if I've got something in the oven and it's like, well, I kind of need to keep an eye on it, but like it's gonna be in there for 40 minutes. It's like, okay, start up the pinball machine and play while that's baking or whatever, you know. So it's just a really good way to break up my day having one of these.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, So, do you know how many Rick and Mortys that you guys sold? Like, ballpark?
Yeah, it was 750 of them.
Mm-hmm. Nice, so that's a 50% increase, basically.
Yeah, so that was pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game sold really well. It sold out pretty quick, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there are a lot of Rick and Morty fans. You know, that show is just incredibly popular, and we worked with Justin Roiland and got him to do, like, so many call-outs for the game, too. They're all custom, like, funny things.
Oh, yeah, he seems like a really just a very funny improvisational guy. Did you actually get to be there for any of those? Like, were you, like, directing those sessions, or was that somebody else?
No, unfortunately, it was all remote, but that's okay. So what he did, though, which was really interesting, is he did... we wrote down all this script for him to say, like, different things, like ball saved and multi-ball and all this other stuff, and he would read the thing in a few different tones of voice, and then he would... like, just improv and just riff off of whatever we wrote down. And some of the stuff was just so funny. Like, he's just a very funny guy.
Oh, that's great.
So we got a lot of really, really good content that way, directly from his brain.
Well, and that's one of the best parts of being in a collaborative endeavor, is you don't know what the other people will come up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, real quick, we got some tips rolling, and I got to acknowledge, thank you, Incredimike, for tipping 10. That's going to get us to 120 degrees angular there. Boom. And then it looks like NJ Coffee Junkie tipped another 10. So there we go. That's 130 now. And then I see another one just rolled in. Let me find out who that's from.
Oh, man, we're totally going to make it to 360.
I would be shocked, but, you know, if we get there, we get there. I choose to believe. I want to believe. Speaking of spaceships and flying saucers, yeah, Victoria rolling in with 10. Thank you very much, Victoria. That's going to bring us up to 140.
All right.
Thank you very much. And then, let's see, we got a lot of cool folks coming in. So, Incredimike says 750, wow. And to be clear, when you tapered off the TNA production at 550, that was because you had kind of hit demand, right? Whereas 750, that was like on Rick and Morty, like Spooky could only make 750. You might have sold more if they had more production capacity. Is that? Yeah.
Well, they could have sold more if they could have done more production capacity. They just didn't want it to take more than like 18 months because people don't like to really wait around like that. It's not fair to make people wait around for their games. Mm-hmm. Spooky's a pretty small company still.
Are they based out of Illinois? I know a lot of pinballs in Illinois.
Say it one more time?
Sorry, I said, are they manufacturing in Illinois? I know a lot of the other pinball people are.
They're out of Wisconsin. So they're out of Wisconsin.
That's right. Yeah. They're the ones, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I did, there was a question in the chat, too, if I did the music on Rick and Morty, and I did. I did all of the music for it.
So you did the music, you did the playfield design, did you do
all the
any
sound
of the...
effects.
All the sound effects. Did you do any of the programming, or was that somebody else?
No, Eric Kripke did the programming, and he I did some of the light shows for it, but yeah, he did all the heavy lifting there.
That's cool.
Yeah, Spooky expanded a bunch after Rick and Morty.
So they've got more capacity now.
They do, yeah. I think they sold like I can't remember exactly what they sold of Halloween and Ultramans, but I think it was like something like they sold something around 750 or 800 Halloweens, and then something like 500 Ultramans.
Oh wow!
So they're gonna get all of those out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually.
Cool. Folks are asking again for Scott's Twitch name. It is twitch.tv/Scott Danesi. I'm going to post that again.
All right.
And Scott...
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, for my Twitch stuff, though, just be aware, it's I stream, like, random stuff. And, you know, it could be a modular synth. It could be me doing some work on my desktop. It could be a DJ set. I've done that before randomly.
Yeah, I've stumbled into some of those streams, and I've really enjoyed them. You were doing that, like, random, like, I I forget what you called it, the record party where you're just pulling records and you don't know what's on them?
That's the weirdest one. Yeah, that's the weirdest one. I'll invite a bunch of friends over to my house and we'll do a crate dig party where we all have drinks and dig through a bunch of records and we spin them and make fun of them and laugh and have a great time. And we just share it with Twitch and everyone else on there. That's a lot of fun when that happens.
Yeah, the night you were doing that, I had like 5 hours of footage to review, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. I'm like, hey, Scott's hanging out and listening to music. That was a real buoy for my spirits. So thank you, Scott.
That's great. That is awesome. Yeah, if you guys just like, I usually post about what I'm gonna do on like Instagram or something. So I think I don't use Twitter or anything.
Yeah.
But it's mostly Instagram that I use for a social media.
Yeah. Yo-Yo says, are you aware of what kind of audience is here? We love weird stuff. I was actually tempted to make a joke. Like, Scott, unfortunately my audience expects only completely normal things at all times. But like, no, I mean, I'm halfway upside down. You know?
Yeah. I don't really do normal very well.
That's fine. I don't either. Because the thing is, you end up competing with too many other people. You know?
Yeah.
There's only one Scott Danesi. Do Scott Danesi.
Yeah. I have ADD real bad, and it shows.
Oh,
yeah. It sure makes for a good Twitch stream, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just random stuff. I don't know. I just do random Twitch. But so it's kind of like it's kind of fun because if you see me like live all of a sudden, it could really be anything. Like it's part of the fun.
Oh, exactly. Like I was really excited when I saw you doing your like crazy music modular setup thing because I was like, I've never seen anything like this at this scale. Yeah. Like I knew it existed in theory, but like it was just really cool seeing you messing around with all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's all experimental too, which is neat. Like so that stuff is like, you can build things. You can build like these crazy audio sequences in that thing, and then I could just take it and just unplug all the cables from it, and we will never hear it again. But we all enjoyed it together. I will never be able to recreate it.
It's ephemeral, and that's one of the things I love about streaming too. Is it's like, there might be a recording of it, but like maybe not. Like YouTube, like Twitch and YouTube take down recordings of especially anything with music all the time. I'm not backing this stuff up because honestly, I kind of like the idea that like we don't know if it will keep existing. We're just experiencing this moment together.
Absolutely, but it's actually traveling away from us at the speed of light. So it still does exist, but we don't have access to it.
Exactly. A couple tips just rolled in. Thank you, DL Krauser, for the 20, who says, can you program a pinball machine to give you a free ball or other bonuses when the streamer gets a donation? That's something I maybe need to talk to the Scorebit guys about. There might be a way to hook the Scorebit. I don't know if Scorebit can do input into the machine to trigger things like extra balls or things.
It does not yet, but that is on the plan for Scorebit. The multimorphic P3 games actually do have Twitch integration, and it does work, and you can actually like black out the screen or like disable their flippers or something like that also.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Either way, there's an extra 20 degrees of rotation. I'm almost entirely upside down now. And we got another 32 rolling in from Bastion. Thank you very much, Bastion, for that. So let's see. That's going to put us at 192 degrees rotation. So we're past 180 now.
That's amazing. Look at that.
Wow.
I told you you're going to hit 360.
Yeah, I mean, clearly.
So, you know what? I'm going to, this is going to help too.
Uh-oh.
Here, I'm gonna show off my my pogs that I won. So you guys are looking. I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't say this earlier, but at MGC this past weekend, I won the Pog World Champions.
Congrats!
Or the World Championship. And I won this. This is a brand new sealed, as you can see. I'll reflect it off my lights here. You can see, still sealed up. From 1996, a whole box of Pogs from the 1996 Atlanta Olympics.
Ooh. So that's going to have amazing. Izzy on there, I guess, right?
It does, yeah. So Izzy's this guy right here.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I remember that from when I was a kid.
See here, we get, let's see if I focus up here. It's got the Atlanta logo on there. Let's see what else we got here. You know what? this is my good luck charm. So I'm gonna set this out for you, Joe. It's gonna be sitting right next to me.
Oh, thank you,
here.
Scott.
And actually, you know what? I'm gonna set it on TNA back there.
Oh yeah, that'll be right in frame there.
There we go. Ah, perfect.
You know, I feel encouraged.
Just for good luck.
I feel encouraged already, but you know, let me post the link because that also helps.
It does help, big time.
So yeah, between that and the link being posted, I'm sure something will come in.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Scott.
Just gotta get the 360.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So this is kind of a good chance to kind of segue because you mentioned the P3 multimorphic having these Twitch integration things, which honestly I didn't even know about. And this is gonna sound kind of dumb, maybe, but like because the P3 is both so expensive and so backordered, I kind of have avoided learning too much about it because unlike a lot of other machines that cycle through the arcades here in town, like, you know, I was able to play a Mandalorian like the day it came out because one of our arcades got it. I was able to play Godzilla at Music City Multicon, and then Jordan and Bex showed up with it. You know, later I played the Pro model at the Music City Multicon, and then the Premium when they brought it over here to stream. So like I got to play Godzilla, but like with the P3 stuff, there's just not an opportunity for me to play it. So I kind of avoid learning too much about it to kind of keep the, not necessarily FOMO, it's not fear of missing out, but just awareness of missing out at bay, you know?
Yeah, that's fine.
But like, so to really quick explain what the P3 is to people, the P3 is kind of a mix between a pinball machine and kind of a giant, I almost want to say tablet, like imagine a giant a TV underneath the playfield. Instead of having like a plywood, whitewood with inset, or plywood playfield with insets and paint on it, it's a television screen where they can display anything they want. And so
it's basically a dynamic playfield is what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the actual words for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that does sound like a good way to describe that. Yeah. So they've got a dynamic playfield where they can change what's on the playfield, but then they've also got modular bits. So, like, the Italian bottom, I think, is built into the core system, or can you swap that out even?
No, that thing slides out the front. You can swap a whole new one in there.
You can swap a new bottom in,
shot.
And then at the top, there's another module that you can pull out depending on what game you want to play too, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's basically like a console. So if you think about it, like, it's a pinball machine console where you can easily swap out the playfields, and then the software itself recognizes what playfield's in there, and it starts up the game that you put in. Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. It really is.
So hey, we just got another tip rolling in. Your good luck charm is already working. We got 10 from Scott Danesi in Illinois.
Oh, nice!
Wow, what a coincidence that they got the same name as you.
That's weird. Yeah, I didn't know there was any more people in Illinois named Scott Danesi, but that's great.
Wow, excellent. So we're going to go ahead and rotate
Scott.
this 10 degrees. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
so that puts us at 200 degrees. But yeah, people are saying, who's the guest? Our special guest, Scott Danesi, his name is up on the screen. I probably should have added creator of Total Nuclear Annihilation. I guess that's in the stream title. Yeah, at a certain point, this is on you, so... No, I'm kidding. I'm glad that y'all are coming out, and honestly, you know, it's you know, I shouldn't make fun of people for being ignorant, because part of why I'm trying to bring in outside guests is to talk about things that like my viewers don't necessarily intersect with, you know, and pinball machine design is kind of a weird one. But, you know, I've had all sorts of people in studio. Honestly, having a pinball machine here to bring guests in studio, I was talking to a professor of economics who specializes in ecology and risks. And I was like, you know, I've had some people on my streams, and, like, we just play pinball and talk about, like, what they do. Do you want to come in here and talk about ecology and, like, statistical risk analysis? And he's like, and play pinball? And I'm like, yes. He's like, awesome! Because, you know, normally he's lecturing to, like, a bunch of 18-year-olds in, you know, at the university, and not necessarily, like, talking to a bunch of people who are like, yeah, let's hang out and play pinball on Friday night. And so, yeah, we're very lucky to have Scott Danesi, the creator of this machine, here in studio. So we were just talking about the P3 machine. It's a modular design, got a play field that you can swap out the physical components of, but then it's also got the screen underneath it so they can display whatever they code. You worked on Rick and Morty, and then was your next machine that you worked on the P3 Weird Al thing, or was there anything in between there that I'm missing?
Well, I do little odds and ends for people, and I did some audio for a P3 game by Nick Baldridge with Silver Falls. Just some other little things after that, and then I did the audio for Weird Al at that point.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm actually surprised that they didn't send you like a prototype of the playfield or something to like test things on, or did they? No, you already had to send it back.
Well, the Multimorphic as a company has a very advanced simulator that they have that just runs in Unity on my computer, and I can drop audio files into it and run the game itself, drag the pinball around and do stuff and test things out. So I did it completely in the simulator. I actually I didn't play a physical game until Texas Pinball Festival this year.
Oh wow!
Which was really exciting.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, they've got it all set up where it's where it's very easy to do remotely.
Yeah, I really want to play a P3, and it's frustrating because when Becca and Jordan came in and we played Godzilla, they had a trailer. They were bringing everything back from Chicago Expo last year, and they had like 3 multimorphic P3s in the trailer as well as the Godzilla. But like after unloading one pinball machine and setting up to stream that, we weren't gonna do another one, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things. Like at the time, I was like, "That's cool. I don't really care about that. I just want to play Godzilla." Like, I want to see the building go up and down, because I had been playing the Pro all weekend at Music City Multicon, which was why I wasn't at Chicago Pinball Expo, because Music City Multicon is like Nashville's local pinball show, and like with things coming back from COVID at that point, I was like, I can't skip my local show. You know, I gotta, support that, I'm excited that this year they're a weekend apart, so I can do both this year, But yeah, the more I learned about the P3 afterwards, I'm like, oh man, that was a missed opportunity.
Check it out, dig into it a little bit.
Yeah, so I looked at their dev kit API on their website, and yeah, it was like a Unity project. I don't have Unity on my laptop right now, but like if I actually got that set up, could I be using that to simulate instead of VPX or whatever, to simulate my theoretical table?
Well, it would have to be. Built on the actual P3 platform, right? So
gotcha.
Not really. Yeah, if you want to simulate an actual a full traditional pinball machine, just use VPX.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because at this point, this is gonna sound maybe kind of ignorant, but I intentionally avoided doing too much research on this project until I kind of broke ground on it in Minecraft, because I want to show the viewers kind of my research process as well. And part of that is talking to people like you on stream like this,
Absolutely, This is a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, because if I just go into it and I'm like, hey guys, I did 3 months worth of research of this off camera, and here all the decisions are already made, and I'm not going to explain my thought process because it was 3 months ago. That's not as engaging, as me saying yeah, I'm looking into, hey, these are these different simulators that I could run this on, and let me show a few seconds of video from each one as an example, and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Someone's asking what my pronouns are, and I'm he, him is perfectly fine by me. Right. Dude, the multi-ball in this game, though, looks so cool with those screen protectors.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the video is probably not doing it justice, because in real life, that isn't totally this, insane-looking, green and blue combination.
I will say one thing that caught me by surprise, the first time I activated multi-ball in this, with the reactor about to start, was I didn't realize it would skip the reactor startup sequence, because the ball isn't locked in the, or even if you had one ball locked in the scoop, you still have the other two going. So I was like, what? Why did it start the reactor? And it's nope, it had.
Yeah, because it's still running. Yeah.
Yeah.
it started it. It just did it really fast.
Yeah. I mean, with that many balls going on, like, it couldn't not do that.
Yep. Ooh, man, it gets a fast skip out of there, too. It just skips over the,
yeah.
that scoop.
Sometimes, not consistently. I do like the jokes you have on the mystery on here.
Oh, yeah, there's some really funny ones in there. I like the Lion Man one. That's my favorite.
I actually don't know.
Till next player's funny.
I was going to ask you what that reference was to, because I'm not, like, maybe in the pinball community enough to know what Lion Man is.
So, the story of Lion Man. So, if you go and ask someone what Lion Man is, they'll just tell you Lion Man is Lion Man.
Okay.
And they're not going to give you much information about it.
That's fair. That's about when people ask me about myself. I'm like, I don't like telling you about myself. You figure it out. That's your problem.
Yeah, so high level, like how it happened, right? So my buddy Doug and I were at Pinball Expo, like, I don't know, not like 15 years ago, maybe? I don't know. It was a long, long time ago. And we were playing Swords of Fury, and that game, that pinball machine yells at you. It just yells Lion Man really loudly at you randomly.
Really?
And that's when the lion, that's when the Lion Man shot is lit. It goes Lion Man, and it just like yells that.
Nice.
So we were drinking, and we were able to find the microphone for the PA system for the whole expo hall. And this is late at night.
Oh, this is how I get into trouble. I do dumb stuff like this, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this is one of those stories.
Yeah, so Doug got on the microphone and started yelling Lion Man like a whole bunch, you know, to imitate the game. And it made a lot of people really mad, and like you know, not like mad, but annoyed tons of people. And eventually they took away the microphone and shut it off, and like made it so we couldn't do it anymore. You know, so it started there, and we were kind of laughing about how it like annoyed people. Yeah. Just like the game does, you know. Yeah. So after that, I started a Pinside thread, and Pinside, if you guys aren't pinball people, Pinside is a really large pinball community with it's just basically a big forum for pinball people to talk to each other. And we started a thread. Well, I started a thread with my account called Lion Man with an exclamation point on it, and all that we did was I got a few friends to be like, I'm like, hey, go in this thread and just write Lion Man in there, and if anyone doesn't write Lion Man, we have to thumbs down them like a whole bunch. And they're like, all right, cool, a deal. So we were thumbs upping people that were saying Lion Man and thumbs downing people that were like, what are you guys doing? Well, you guys are so annoying, like when it was making people mad. Yeah. So eventually the community started catching on to what we were doing. Yeah. And they started, like, other people who we didn't know started yelling Lion Man in the thread. And then there's other people like getting annoyed, and eventually the annoyed people got less and less, and then it was all people just yelling Lion Man at each other nonstop. And I think there's let me see if I can find the thread. I'm gonna post. You know what? I'm gonna post a link to the thread.
Sure.
Because it's just too funny. Let me find it. Lion Man thread. Let me make sure it's not on the last page. Lion Man. Okay, so and I also put a poll in the. There's a poll on it too that says Lion Man with a question mark, and the two answers are yes and Lion Man. Nice. So like you can pick between yes and Lion Man. But yeah, this went on. You can see some of the people getting. Mostly it's Lion Man. You'll see some of the people get kind of annoyed though, and it's kind of funny. Most people appreciate it though. Yeah, that PA system story, I didn't yell Lion Man, but at one point in high school, I realized that Google had all sorts of interesting uses. Like, you could Google, how do you activate the PA system at Kmart from one of the phones? That's so funny. You know? Yeah. Or how can you tell which DVD player at Kmart controls all the televisions? You know, like we had a Kmart in my town and not a lot else, if you can't tell. Yeah. Oh yeah. So Joe, I'm gonna do a little quiz. Since you're playing
Yeah.
the game and you don't have access to search anything on the internet,
Yeah.
I am going to. I want you to guess. I started the thread, the Lion Man thread, 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I want you to guess how many posts are on that thread right now of people yelling Lion Man back and forth at each other.
I would guess. I'm feeling in a Bradbury mood. How about 451?
451 posts.
Yeah.
No, you're actually cold. So keep going. It's higher than that.
1,337.
That would be nice. That's a good number, but I'll tell you what, not even close. Keep going.
Am I low?
You're low.
Oh,
yeah, keep
wow.
going. Sorry. Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. We could do something a little bit more patriotic. 1776.
1776 it's a great patriotic number, but it's still too low.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I want to start jumping like orders of magnitude now, but I'm kind of like, I don't think I. That feels wrong.
Well, go ahead and jump. If you go over, I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. Let's say 525,600.
Okay, that's way too high.
Okay. So let's say 13,000.
13,000 is slightly too high. Okay, but that's close enough. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'll let you know. It is, as it sits right now, it is 11,247.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild.
It's pretty crazy.
And it's just people yelling Lion Man.
Yeah, people yelling Lion Man. But another cool thing about the Lion Man thread is not a lot of people know is we post like images of cool things that we do. Like we'll post a picture of something neat that we did, and then yell Lion Man after it. So when you look and you keep up with the Lion Man thread, you can sometimes get little industry secrets into some like certain things that we're doing.
Oh, okay. So it's also like a spoiler thread.
No, not really. There's stuff hidden in there, and you kind of it's all really cryptic. But there is things like hidden in there that we're doing, like when we're preparing for the Pinball Olympics or something. There's little bits of like some of the new Pinball Olympic events that happen, like that, then we just yell Lion Man, and then a bunch of other people yell Lion Man, and it gets buried.
Very cool. I want to talk to you about the Pinball Olympics too, but
yes.
Real quick, I wanted to say thank you to David for tipping another $5 via PayPal. That's going to put us at 2,005, or not 2,005, 205. I'm thinking of the wrong order of magnitude because of this pin side.
Wait, it's Lion Man. Lion Man.
The Lion Man thread is getting in my head.
It is.
But yeah, so Pinball Olympics is a really cool concept. Well, we are getting close to 10:30 though. How hard do you have to get out of here?
No, it's all good. Let's talk about Pinball Olympics.
Okay, cool. Because I did want to talk about the P3 and Weird Al, and we just kind of like
sure. Yeah, let's do that too.
Got sidetracked with Lion Man. So Pinball Olympics. Can you describe this event? Because I've only heard about it secondhand, and it sounds amazing, and I can't wait until I can attend.
Absolutely. So yeah, my buddy Jay has a pretty large collection of pinball machines. And we've been doing tournaments for many years now, and we eventually kind of got bored of the standard tournaments, so we started coming up with different events, like to make pinball harder, right? Like let's say like a simple event would be you throw dollars down on top of the glass so you can't really see the pinball machine as much, right? So it makes it a little harder to play, and then you compete with your friends and do a dollar game on that, right? Well, it keeps accelerating from there, right? So you take that to the next level, right? And you pull the glass out of the pinball machine, and then you spray paint the glass with like a frosting, like a window frosting, and you slide the glass back in, and now you really can't see anything, and you gotta like look really close into it to try and see anything. That's a Pinball Olympic event, right? There's and then it keeps getting more and more crazy, right? So now you have to play one of the events where you have to put in drunk goggles, right? Remember those drunk goggles they used to bring like to the grade schools to show kids like you can't do anything with these on, you can't walk a straight line with them.
Yeah, for our international audience, that was part of like the DARE program in America, They would have these goggles that like really warped your vision, and then try to like ask you to walk in a straight line or walk around a cone, just to show like, hey, this is the equivalent of drinking 5 beers before getting in the car or whatever, right?
Yeah. But then, so there's little like, harmless events like that. But then it gets more complicated. Like, we have this one event where you put a helmet on, and the helmet actually is connected to the pinball machine, and it has a tilt bob right in front of your face.
Yeah.
And you have to play the machine absolutely perfectly still. If you move your head at all, the tilt bob sets off the machine, and it tilts the machine, and the machine shuts off.
That seems like I'm trying to like not move my head now.
Try not to move your head at all. Even talking shakes it.
Yeah, no, just in solidarity with the concept.
Yes.
Now
it is very difficult.
And like I think when Jordan and Becca were talking about it, they mentioned one like where instead of hitting the flippers directly, you would have like Hulk hands, like big foam Hulk hands, and so just all sorts of like different things.
But it gets even more extreme.
Oh.
So this past year, and this happens around Pinball Expo time every year.
That's Texas Pinball Expo in...
No. This is Chicago Pinball Expo.
Oh, sorry, Chicago Pinball Expo. Sorry.
Yeah. So the most extreme thing, and I'll just cut right to it because there's so many other events that happen during this thing. The most extreme one this year was there was a mechanical bull with a pinball machine attached to it.
Yeah.
And you had to run around and chase the pinball machine around and play it.
Whew.
Well, it was
now, I'm assuming you took the tilt bob out of that one.
Yeah, that one does not have a tilt bob in it.
Yeah. I kept hearing people who couldn't be there saying, like, oh man, why don't they stream this? And everybody's like, oh, it would be impossible to stream that. Because
it would really be impossible.
There's so many tables, and, like, because, like, it's dozens, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think the only way you could do it, if you were going to try and stream it, you would have, like, in theory, some of these you had, like, a handler at the table, like, giving people the drunk goggles and telling them how it worked, right?
Yeah.
So if you had the handler for some of the machines being a different streamer, so, like, Jordan Fliptronic might be the drunk goggles handler, and then he would be streaming the drunk goggles machine on his channel. Somebody else would be the mechanical bull handler and streaming that on their channel. You could maybe do it that way, but I think you would, based on the size of the collection, from what I've heard, it seems like you'd run out of pinball streamers first.
Yeah, you would definitely do that. And honestly, it would just be too crazy to stream it. I mean, if someone was walking around with a video camera, just like trying to capture everything, that could probably be the best way to do it. Wild Dog Arcade, hello, and thank you for the raid. Awesome.
Oh, hey, thank you, Raiders. Sorry, I'm like focused on the game and listening to Scott right now. I'm not like doing my best job as a stream host, but I am having a lot of fun. So
I think that's all that matters, really, isn't it?
I would like to think so, but not every viewer is gonna agree. Luckily, I've got a pretty tolerant audience because they know that when I'm like, I'm gonna do some weird stuff for fun, they're just like, yeah, okay, buckle up or leave. We get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for the raid there.
Yeah, Joe is definitely upside down.
Yeah.
So the Pinball Olympics are a lot of fun. A lot of people come to Chicago for the Pinball Olympics. There were some people that just wanted to come for that. And Joe, if you're coming to Chicago Pinball Olympics this year, we'll definitely Pinball Expo this year. We'll get you in and we'll hang out.
Like I said, I'm only going to be there on Saturday, and I don't know if Saturday is the day you guys are doing that.
It is usually on Saturday, yeah.
Okay, and then I am going to be bringing my child and my girlfriend. So if we need like wristbands or RSVP, I would need 3.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I would honestly love that. I would love to do that.
And all the money that goes into the Pinball Olympics, like my buddy Jay never like makes money on this thing. He's always just like barely breaking even. If he breaks even, it's great, but he just does it just for fun.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I'm happy to pay for whatever. I was under the impression that it was like an exclusive invite thing, like
it kind of is. There's a set number of tickets that sell.
Yeah.
And then those, once they're gone, that's it.
Okay, well, I would like if you could let me know like before those go on sale so that I can order my 3, or whatever. because that at the point where I'm basically driving 12 hours to Chicago and 12 hours back in a 3-day period, I want to get the most out of it, and attending that event would be the most.
Yeah, that would be highly recommended.
Yeah.
But Pinside usually has the heads up on when the tickets go on sale for that.
Okay, cool. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. And someone mentioned up there earlier. Oh yeah, Tracy mentioned earlier. There was a TNA last year on a rotating platform. So you know how they have like car dealerships sometimes. They have cars that are on that platform and they just rotate around like that. Yeah, big turntable. Well, there's a big turntable that was built, and that it had the TNA on it, and it plays very strange.
So I was gonna say, wait, did y'all built a turntable for this? You didn't just borrow one from a car dealer?
No, it's all custom built stuff.
Wow, that is wild. Like, and that's the sort of thing, like, you know, people do so many cool things because, like, why not? Like, just put something out there in the world. And like, how many years have you been doing this now?
Man, that's a good question. I think the first Pinball Olympics was in. Let me look really quick. Hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
And we have like award ceremonies and stuff too, which is just really great. Pinball Olympics. It looks like we started maybe in 2012.
Oh wow, so this is 10 years of Pinball Olympics already.
Yeah, 2012 I think was the first time. Yeah, that seems to be it.
That's one of the things that's really cool about pinball too, is it has a real history to it. You know, like, I've been, you know, trying to catch up on some of that, listening to podcasts like Silver Ball Chronicles and stuff, but like, you know, y'all have been doing things in the pinball industry for decades now, whereas like everything else I do, like Minecraft, or even just like when I was doing webcomics, it's like that stuff is, I guess now it's 20 years old, but like, it's not pinball old, you know?
Yeah, pinball's been around a long time.
I don't know why I try to backhand that destroy button. I know I shouldn't, but I can backhand the lock. You should be able to?
Should be able to, yeah.
Maybe I'll keep at it. That was bad. Once again, a more disciplined player would be cradling the ball more, but I just don't have the patience for that. Like, I just love I like playing games at their natural speed, which is not make me a competitive player. So yeah, apologies to any of the professional level pinball people here who are joining to watch Scott talk. That my skills are not going to be commensurate with his talent. But there it is.
You should see me flailing. There you go. You should see me flail around playing pinball. It's quite interesting.
Oh yeah, I would definitely enjoy that.
I swear I used to be good at pinball, but for some reason, maybe I never was good. I don't know. I think everyone else got better, and I didn't get any better at all.
Well, and that's one of those things, though. Like, it's wild now that you can actually record yourself playing. Like, you know, in a lot of sports, like football or baseball, like, you know, they would go back and watch the tapes of the games, right? You know, like, now that we can just for free record ourselves playing pinball, like, are people like noticing, like, oh, you know, I keep flipping this at just the wrong time, and like, you know, maybe there's new tools for improvement that just didn't exist, you know, or weren't affordable 20 years ago. So the reactor's online now. Lost my multi-ball there. So, yeah, we were going to talk about the P3 and multimorphic for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So we explained, like, what the multimorphic P3 was. Dang it. Oh, good, I got the ball saved. But yeah, so this Weird Al project, can you talk a little bit about how that kind of came about, or how that got to you? Were you already working with multimorphic on other stuff, you said, or...?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've been friends with Jerry, who owns Multimorphic, for like 15 years now. And you know, he was working on this new project, and he said, like, you know, he saw that, like, I was done with Rick and Morty. I was kind of taking a bit of a break, and he mentioned to me that he would like me to come on board and do a little bit of sound for it, and I just said, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. You know, it was really that easy. Like it really, that was the conversation, and then you know, we got into more details of it, and yeah, I just kind of fell into it just from the connections I had.
Well, and that's one of the things, like, you know, I always tell people about, like, being creative. Is if you go and you make things and you put them out into the world, you never know what the next thing's going to be. You know, and especially if you demonstrate that you're a team player and that you can collaborate with people, you know, that really is going to say a lot about you, and you'll be shocked at what opportunities show up, like, 5 years later. Because, yeah, I guess Weird Al was about 5 years after TNA was produced, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Weird Al project was really cool. I got to create all the sound effects for it. I created those. I mentioned this earlier, but I created 2 new music tracks for it that made it in the game. There is.
For those of us who haven't had
vocal processing, yeah.
I was gonna say, for those of us who haven't had the chance to play it, what kind of tracks are they, or when do they show up in the game? Are they like a multi-ball track, or a like? Is it the attract mode track, or what kind of thing?
No,
is it?
so there's one of the tracks is in one of the new modes. So which has not been released yet.
Oh, okay.
It's called Drink from the Fire Hose, which is pretty cool. And then the other track is the high score music.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and all the rest of the tracks that are in the game are actually Weird Al songs. So that's great, and I got to remaster all those as well.
Oh wow! So you went in and remastered Weird Al songs?
I did, yeah, because his music was from such different generations. Mastering has changed a lot since then. So what I did was I went through and I made sure that everything sounded the same in terms of loudness across the board.
So was it mostly just volume tweaks, or were there other changes you were making?
It's compression and volume tweaks. Yeah.
Okay. Still, that's pretty cool to be like hired to work on remastering Weird Al. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to do it, but I did it just for consistency, so that his older songs weren't quieter than the rest.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing just really fits together.
Because yeah, if you're listening to one of his older albums, you just change the volume on your stereo, but if you're hearing the songs like immediately after each other.
Yeah.
People are saying, Input Bull says, what's TNA? That's the acronym for Total Nuclear Annihilation. That's the game that we are playing. Well, I'm playing it right now. Scott designed it. He created it. You did everything basically except for, according to the score thing, or the card here, you did everything except for the art, the video, and then there was a code team. You worked with Michael Ocean and Jimmy Lipham.
Yep. So for the code team on there, I did almost all the coding for TNA, but I had a lot of help from Michael Ocean, who is the creator of the framework that I used. Called Skeleton Game.
So did you use that framework on the prototype too? And then
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And this is also, Michael Ocean is also the main programmer on Weird Al as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So
yeah, it's a small little community.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of small worlds, my dungeon master for Pathfinder was just like, Joe, you've been talking about pinball a lot. Do you know Michael Ocean? And I'm like, nah, the name doesn't really ring a bell. And he's like, well, yeah, he worked on like Total Nuclear Annihilation, and you're renting that right now, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, yeah, I hang out with him sometimes. I'm like, what? Like,
that's great.
That's so weird. Like,
Michael is a great human.
Yeah, it's like, so, but I looked it up and I'm like, yep, that guy worked on Total Nuclear Annihilation. Oh, what do you know?
Funny.
Yeah,
very small world.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And Jimmy Lipham also he worked on the project too. He did the operating system, so he programmed the Linux computer that's in this thing to be able to actually run everything as like smoothly and as efficiently as possible.
So the boards in this, are these multimorphic, or is the name of the company Multimorphic or P3?
Yes, if the name of the company is Multimorphic.
Yeah.
And these are multimorphic boards in this game.
Gotcha. Okay. And were they multimorphic boards in the prototype too, or was that a transition you made?
Yep.
Okay.
Nope, they were also in there. Yep.
Gotcha. And you said that you've known the guy Jerry from Multimorphic for like 15 years, so I'm guessing you already knew him then well before you started on this.
Correct. Yeah, and I was already familiar with the hardware and everything too. So it was an easy fit for me to go with that.
But so, bringing in Jimmy to work on the operating system, is that something like that just wasn't part of the core multimorphic package then, or?
Well, yeah. So the multimorphic boards don't they need a computer to run. So they multimorphic boards are basically like a USB interface to a pinball machine. So you still need a computer to run it.
Gotcha.
And it can be written in any language or whatever. It's just a physical interface from a computer to a pinball machine.
Gotcha.
Which is super cool. So I decided I wanted to get a very small, very underpowered computer to run like a very stripped down version of Linux, but I had no idea how to program and set up a Linux environment like that, which is secure and also efficient. So Jimmy, though, knows this stuff like the back of his hand, and he dove right in and did it for me.
Now, in terms of security, when TNA launched, like, I know this one has a score bit in it, which has like Wi-Fi, but I think George, Don't Panic Clip, who I'm renting it from, made a lot of mods. Does the base TNA have like Wi-Fi?
It does. It does not. So it's all locked down.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that to keep it as secure as possible, so I did not have Wi-Fi on there.
Gotcha.
But the score bit does have Wi-Fi, and that does communicate with the internet and push your points and progress up.
Yeah.
It looks like it was connected too. Like there's the Scorebit logo shows up in a track mode. You see that in the top right corner?
Yeah, and like I'm gonna say, like, I haven't updated this to like I it's on my to-do list to figure out how to actually.
This is updated. That Scorebit logo doesn't show up unless it's actually active.
Yeah, so I think I'm pushing my scores to George's Scorebit account. Sorry, Don't Panic Flip.
Well, no, it's not the account. You would have to take your phone out and say, "Hey, this is me playing."
Gotcha.
With the Scorebit app, and then it would do that.
I was going to ask.
But I think it is connected. That
Dead Flip logo on there, is that something? Is that like a paid advertisement for Dead Flip, or is that because he did some sort of work or beta testing on the game?
That is a tribute to Jack, because Jack was a big advocate of this game early on and helped me stream it, because I am not a pinball streamer whatsoever, and he did a lot of stuff for me and really just championed the game, and I want to give back to him a little bit, so I had him make a dead flip animation and then put it in there. So
nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not a secret code for it or anything. It just shows up in a track mode.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, why that was there exactly. But yeah, no, he was just talking on his stream earlier tonight about you giving him advice about getting a good bonus on, I think it was Rush, maybe.
Oh gosh, he did. I was messing with him at MGC.
Yeah.
I think I finally broke him.
I think you succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, Jack and I have been friends for a long time as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about the pinball community, is how, like, people see each other face to face at tournaments and events and stuff. Because, like, one of the things about the Minecraft community is there's only like one big convention a year called Minecon, and like half the time it's in Europe, and the other half the time it's like in California or something. But they don't have it's. There's too many people that want to go and not enough seats, right? So, like, it's just not like pinball, where you have, like, several events every year of different scales and different regions, and, like, you just don't get to see people face to face. And even when you do see each other face to face, you're not gaming together,
Yeah.
Like, because Minecraft isn't a good game to sit next to somebody in a convention and play the way pinball. You can be like, hey, let's play 4-player on the same machine and have a beer and talk and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
So, it's such a great community.
It is. I'm very happy to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that y'all have been so kind to me. Like, I honestly had no idea what to expect. I was very pleasantly surprised, like, at how just generous everyone is with their time, like, including you just showing up here tonight. That's really cool of you, so thank you again.
Absolutely. Yeah, the pinball community is pretty great. the people in it are really open and nice.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part.
So I just started a new game, but in terms of your time, how about we wrap it up after this game ends? Does that seem fair? Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, because like I know I don't want to keep you from your wife, or if you guys have plans for the evening.
It's all good.
Cool. So for sound design on Weird Al, in terms of I always forget there's a scoop up there.
Yeah. So I was gonna mention this earlier when you were talking about cost cutting stuff.
Yeah.
And like the slingshots being expensive.
Yeah.
So Charlie went through this originally, and he was afraid to cost cut anything out of it because people loved it so much.
Yeah.
He didn't want to make it look like it was stripped out or messed with or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he left everything in there, including that scoop in the back of the targets back there, the inline targets.
Mm-hmm.
That probably could have been costed out, and the game would have been just fine. But it's still a nice surprise when it grabs it.
Yeah, because it usually you're hitting the drop targets, not the scoop there. So,
Yep.
But when it does get it, you're like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, and then it fires it back at you like quickly.
Yeah.
It's neat.
So I was gonna say, for the Weird Al game, as a sound designer, did you work on the scripting for the callouts, or was that somebody else's job?
Well, that was the entire team. So the entire team had input on what was in the script.
Uh-huh.
I didn't do too much of that, but a bunch of the other team did. Like Steven Silver did a bunch on there. I know Bowen did some. Michael Ocean did some as well.
Very cool. So is a lot of the team in Texas, or because I think Michael Ocean's in Massachusetts, if I'm
they're actually all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is very fun because it's you can easily work with these guys remotely. It really is no big deal, and it's really worth it because then you can work with the people that you're comfortable with.
It feels like it's always easier to be a remote member of a team if the entire team is remote.
Yeah.
Because people are used to working that way versus you being the odd man out.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Let me refresh the Twitch chat manually real quick. It seems like it might not be updated. No, okay, cool. Just not a lot of messages, which is fine. I know it's getting late. Don't worry, y'all. We're going to wrap up.
I'll say hi in chat and make sure it's functioning. There we go.
Yay.
Hi, chat.
Yeah, and also if people want to follow Scott, now they can do that easily. Yeah, we're on the last game of the night, so no worries. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the only thing, the only real social media that I'm using lately is just Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to see, if you should follow me on Instagram. There's some basically it's just a dump of the weird stuff that comes out of my brain. Lots of random weird stuff that inside jokes that no one's gonna get, which is even more fun.
If you want to post a link to that, I can copy that over to YouTube.
Yeah, sure thing. Let me grab it real quick. I could probably just type it in. Let's see if I can get it right on the first try.
Yeah, because I don't use Instagram anymore. They got bought by Facebook, and
yeah, it's not too bad because Instagram for me, it's you don't share things on it nonstop. So it's not full of a bunch of garbage. It is full of a lot of advertisements though. Mm-hmm. But it's not terrible. Mm-hmm. Make sure that actually is working properly.
I love the bass on this third song here.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure.
Okay, so now we gotta hit 3 destroy targets for the third reactor here. There was one of them.
Does that link work?
I can't check it right now, but it looks right when I'm eyeballing it. I'll let somebody tell me if it works before I copy and paste it to you.
I'm getting a spinny thing going on. It's super weird.
Hey, there we go.
Did it go? Did it? I'll hop back over in my chat here. Did that Instagram link work for anyone? Oh, there it goes. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's just a lot of really just strange stuff. But feel free, like, if you see something that's really weird on there that you're curious about, just comment on it and ask me stuff. I'll reply back on it and be like, oh, it's just, you know, X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I can confirm Scott is very approachable about things, like, way more than I expected.
Yeah, I'm very friendly.
Yeah.
I like talking to people.
I do too, but, like, one thing I've learned is, like, not everybody likes talking to people as much as I like talking to people, so I try to be, you know, kind of cautious, especially around people that, like, are... maybe this is the right word, maybe not, but, like, established or recognized in their field, right? Mm-hmm. You know, because, like, some people get the same question 800 times and it bothers them. Some people, they're just like, oh, I'm always happy to answer questions, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if somebody can ask me the same question over and over again, I don't care.
Okay.
It is all good. I'm one of those people that does not care whatsoever.
Yeah. People are saying that the link works, so I'm going to paste that over there to YouTube.
Sure.
Awesome. We are
there's some really funny stuff on there, and weird. Like there's a picture of a glass with a lemon in it.
Oh, that's from your tree, right?
Yeah. So like if you know, or like if you know me or around when I'm talking about random stuff, there's you'll know that I have a lemon plant in my house. Yeah. Like who's the dog? Let's see. Let me pull up my thing here. Let's see, is there a picture of my dog in here somewhere? Oh yeah, my dog's in here. That's my dog, that's one of them, that's Monica. I think. There should be other ones in here too. I have 2 dogs and a cat. So there will be pictures of all of them somewhere. Man, I don't really take a lot of pictures of my animals, huh? I don't. It's like lots of car stuff. Lots of weird ramen.
Are there a lot of good ramen places in Chicago? Or do you make your own?
I just make my own.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's pictures of dogs and stuff in there, some like studio pictures and other weird stuff. Yeah, so the fun thing about dog names is we always try to give them human names, but not any kind of name that ends with like a vowel sound, like a E sound. If you name a dog like Holly, like the dogs can recognize that E sound very easily. Yeah. So it's kind of like cheating, right? But if you name a dog like Lisa or Monica, it's really funny, and it's actually harder to come up with good dog names that are people names that don't end in the E. Mm-hmm. Yeah, your dog's name is Holly. That's fine, though. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a common dog name. But yeah, if you're ever in the position again to try and name a dog, try and give it a name that doesn't end with an E sound. It's just a little bit difficult, and it makes it for a really fun dog name. Like my other dog's name is Dave,
which ends with an E, but not an E sound. It's
not
silent.
An E sound. It doesn't. The dog named Margaret is hilarious. That's an amazing name for a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one, actually. This is super fun. It's a fun exercise. My wife and I sometimes, like, we're on, like, long trips in the car or something like that. We'll just come up with, like, funny names for dogs. My dog's name is Damn It. Come, Damn It.
Nice.
Scout. It's a good dog's name. But again, Scout is not a human name. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird had a character named Scout.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's an American classic.
I know. I did not read it.
That's okay.
A cat named Steve is amazing. That's funny. I'm gonna see what else is on. Just so much random stuff on my Instagram. It's just kind of cool.
Nice.
Oh, look at this! My computer's upgraded. You know, weird stuff like that. Like here's a picture of the coils for my car. You know, why not?
Now, were you doing like car modifications before you started doing pinball modifications? Was that like a gateway for you?
Well, you always so in life. I'll give you some fun life advice.
Oh, okay.
Life, you always want to have a hobby that is not your main job, right?
Yes.
So my main job is pinball. So pinball as a hobby for me is not a viable hobby. It's just not. And if I only had pinball as a hobby and then I went to work and did pinball stuff, I would instantly hate pinball. I would not like it anymore.
It's funny because your job is called Pinball Life, and you're explicitly saying I can't have a life, or I must have a life outside pinball life.
Yeah, I mean, I still like playing pinball and I still like fixing my machines, but you can't have that as your main hobby anymore. So my main hobby now is not pinball. I would say my main hobby is probably writing music. Or potentially like working on my car. I have like just this fun car thing that I just tinker on, and it just kind of it takes your mind off of things.
Awesome. Well, Scott, I just linked your Twitch again. Thank you so much for staying over a full half hour. Is there anything else that you would like to promote or get out there for people to keep an eye out for in the future?
Not really. I guess just look at my social media stuff and watch, come to the shows and say hi to me. I like talking to people. I like just chatting with everybody. I'm very friendly. So I'll answer questions. If you want a high five or something. If you don't want to talk to me at all and you just want a high five or a hug or something, I'm good with that too.
So North Star Pinball is your next show, right? You said?
The next show is North Star Pinball, and that's on the 21st. But I will be up in Montreal on the 20th.
Cool. So NorthstarPinball.com, I'm posting that link. So anybody who's up in Canada, come see Scott in Montreal. Any other shows you got between now and October when you're in Chicago Pinball Expo?
I don't think so. I usually do the rave circuit around the Chicago area, and I can post on social media about that stuff if you guys are curious about that and are local. There's still a pretty healthy rave scene, which is interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't really know what that's like in Nashville because, like, having a kid, I don't really get out much. But yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, keep an eye out for if you're in the Chicago area, any of Scott's stuff he posts there. Cool. Well, Scott, this has been an absolute joy having you on the show.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, and like, if there's ever anything that you want to collaborate on or stream about or anything, definitely hit me up because like I am always up to do weird stuff. Honestly, the weirder and more unprofitable, the better. If you're just like, I don't know if this would make sense for Joe to be involved, like that's maybe the sweet spot,
That's pretty funny. Well, unprofitable. I'll tell you what's unprofitable. Me sitting at my computer writing music in my digital audio workstation. That is the least profitable thing I bet you anyone can do. I don't really make any money on Twitch anyway. I just kind of do it for fun. But
if you ever want somebody to talk through what your process is or something like that, I'd be happy to join you on stream in a call similar to this or something.
Just try and narrate what I'm doing, like without knowing, like. Without me telling you. You're like, okay, now he's twisting that knob, but that knob's a different color than the other one he just twisted. So this one might do something different, is what I'm guessing.
What I should do is I should go research a bunch of funny bird names. And then every whatever you're touching, it's like, so Scott is adjusting the red warbler or something like that.
Oh man, well that might actually bring income, so we gotta be careful.
No, yeah, we don't want to do anything that's actually successful.
None of that. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and thank everybody for joining us tonight. This has been a fantastic stream, and y'all asking your questions, supporting the show via tips, super appreciated. We're going to go ahead and raid Manu Smith over at NPT3K.
Awesome.
That's usually where I head after this show. So once again, Scott, thank you again. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. I'm hitting that raid now button. And we are out once I actually